Hallo und herzlich willkommen hier zu einem weiteren Reaction-Video von mir, dem Disappearance. Es ist Montag, der Beginn einer neuen Woche und gleichbedeutend mit einer wieder mal sehr, sehr großen Reaction, die heute kommt. Gestern um 20 Uhr war die Premiere von Elements of Justice Crusading for Turnabout Fall 2 Part 4. Und natürlich musste ich mich bis heute gedulden, um die Reaction aufzunehmen, ein Live-Watching. Das wäre nicht gegangen, weil ich natürlich nicht weiß, wie lange es gegangen wäre bis zum Ende und ich ja auch irgendwann dann für den neuen Arbeitstag ins Bett muss. Ja, deswegen 2,5 Stunden geht das gute Stück heute wieder, also wieder maximale Leistung an der Länge. Ich habe es schon getwittert auch heute. Da kommt wieder eine bombastische Reaction auf mich zu, die ich mir da heute vornehme. Aber ich will das ja auch. Ich will ja wissen, wie der Fall jetzt ausgeht, weil mich diese Geschichte einfach von EOJ bisher so fasziniert und der das wirklich auch so toll mit seinem ganzen Team erzählt. Deswegen packt mich einfach da immer die Neugier und ich will natürlich, dass ihr ja auch mit mir gemeinsam, wenn man so will, das anschaut, denn es ist ja eigentlich doch auch was Besonderes, weil ich finde, dieses Crossover ist immer noch mit einer der tollsten Sachen, die von Fans gemacht wurden und ich bin so dankbar, dass diese Videos nach wie vor weitergemacht werden und auch, sage ich mal, jetzt in einem, sagen wir mal, adäquaten Tempo. Das soll jetzt nicht heißen, dass ich eigentlich es gerne sehen würde, dass es noch schneller gehen würde. Ich will die Leute nicht hetzen. Ich weiß, dass das unfassbar viel Arbeit ist und dass die auch wirklich mit einem Tempo arbeiten, das bewundernswert ist. Deswegen versteht mich da jetzt bitte nicht falsch. Es ist toll, wie es so leiste, wie sie das so leisten, so wollte ich sagen. Und es ist einfach großartig. Und ich bin jetzt mal echt gespannt, ob das jetzt wirklich der letzte Part für diesen Fall wird. Es ist möglich. Die Frage ist jetzt nur, ob jetzt noch mal eine Ermittlerphase kommt. Ich vermute schon, weil unter anderem Scootaloo hat ja, glaube ich, noch, oder was? Nee, Sweetie Belle war es, glaube ich. Einer von den beiden CMCs hatte noch Cyclops, die ja noch durchbrochen werden müssen. Und auch Twilight hat ja noch etwas, was sie nicht so ganz rausgelassen hat, wo Athena schon so gemerkt hat, Twilight lügt anscheinend gerade so ein bisschen oder ist nicht ganz ehrlich. Und natürlich, wie das Thumbnail schon verraten hat, werden Diamond Tiara und Silver Spoon jetzt eine größere Rolle spielen. Und die Frage ist jetzt halt wirklich, was jetzt bei dem ganzen Fall rauskommt. Es wird jetzt mit Sicherheit am Anfang der Folge nochmal ein Recap geben auf das, was bisher geschah. Deswegen schenke ich mir das jetzt einfach alles und hoffe einfach, dass das jetzt wirklich kommt. Wenn nicht, dann tut's mir leid. Ich kann das jetzt aber ehrlich gesagt auch nicht mehr wirklich adäquat zusammenfassen, weil dafür ist so viel schon passiert, das kriege ich in meinem Kopf einfach nicht mehr sortiert. Da müsste ich mir die ganzen Folgen von vorher jetzt nochmal angucken und das würde jetzt einfach den Rahmen sprengen. Wie auch immer, ich würde sagen, wir legen los mit Crusading for a Turnabout Part 4. So. Stopp. Sehr schön. Ich habe gerade schon gesehen, previously, also es wird wieder einen Recap geben. Und ich würde sagen, wir legen los. In 3, 2, 1, los. Middle Ace Attorney, Elements of Justice. Was bisher geschah?
First trial in Equestria, no big deal.
The prosecution
Ach ja,
is
Prosecutor
ready.
Luna.
Nothing was missing from the crime scene to suggest that the murder may have occurred elsewhere.
If the crime scene lacks even a drop of blood to speak of, that casts significant doubt over whether the victim was stabbed there at all.
My name is Zakora.
It's entirely possible that our witness, Miss Sakura, is Royal Order's true killer.
You shan't be relying on that theory for much longer.
She's trying to help them. If she isn't out for blood, then letting Sakura's testimony stand shouldn't be much of a problem.
You evidently still have much to learn. But punishment from me you have not earned.
Those pieces of glass?
If you run through the profiles of every single pony involved in this case so far, you'll notice that not a single one of them wears glasses.
We know they were there. What matters at this point is what they saw.
The defense wishes to call Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon to the stand.
14. Februar, 10:45 Uhr. Ponyville Bezirksgericht. Die Verteidigungslobby. Nummer 5.
Well, that was a little unexpected.
Nur ein wenig.
Oh, who am I kidding? That was completely unexpected. My heart feels like it's about to burst.
Ganz ruhig.
You screwed up!
Widget, ey.
Well, that isn't exactly wrong, though, is it? I did screw up. Absolutely. All because I didn't feel I had any other choice. Let's assume that Turning Page really did hit his father, and he fell to the ground. Now, at that point, who's to say Scootaloo and Turning didn't flee right then, without killing him?
Then that would mean the one who showed up on the scene after they left would have...
Exactly. Given this scenario, it's entirely possible that our witness, Miss Sakura, is Royal Order's true killer.
Das war wirklich eine ganz bittere
I
Phase.
had no proof. I was just desperate. I couldn't face the possibility that Turning and Scootaloo would be found guilty. But by accusing Sakura, I risked putting her in danger. Someone who I had no reason to doubt. But that's not the worst thing I did. I hurt Twilight too. She tried to stop me, but I didn't listen. And because of that, we almost lost. I want to say everything managed to turn out all right in the end, but that certainly wasn't because of anything I did. It was thanks to Twilight jumping in, and Prosecutor Luna trying to guide me the whole way through. Everyone else trying to fix my one massive mistake. Twilight,
Erstmal gleichzeitig reden.
sorry, you first.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. How are you feeling?
I feel like I should be asking you that.
Well, you know, I'm fine. I'm Athena Sykes and I'm fine. It was worth a shot. Okay, I'm not fine. Not in the slightest. But can you blame me? After what I did, I don't know how you can even look at me right now.
It's true that you made a mistake, but...
It was more than a mistake. It was almost catastrophic.
Ganz ruhig.
Sorry. Go on.
As I was saying, it's true that you made a mistake, but you recognized that you did, and apologized for it. And Sakura accepted your apology.
So
That
ist
doesn't
es.
change what I did, Twilight. It was stupid. It was beyond stupid, and I shouldn't have done it in the first place.
Well, I suppose it was a little rash.
The worst of it, though,
Ja, wenn ich daran denke, da im Prequel ist ja Twilight einfach davon gelaufen. Jetzt versucht sie wenigstens das Ganze zu klären. Schön, dass sie hier auch so eine Art Reifeprozess
Let's
durchmacht.
face it, Twilight. I'm a lousy defense attorney.
Ach komm.
And after what happened there, forget not being good enough to be a lawyer. I don't even deserve to be one.
Oh, Athena.
I bet Mr. Wright wouldn't have had to do what I did.
Well, that's not exactly true.
Das ist definitiv nicht wahr.
What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be with the others?
I was, but I wanted to stop by and give my compliments. You two did a great job out there, Athena, all things considered.
All things, boss, are you sure you were watching the right trial? Because I'm pretty sure I put on the worst performance in history.
Jetzt mach dich doch nicht selber so
It
fertig.
was pretty touch and go for a while, admittedly. But you kept the trial going, and gave your clients another fighting chance. I'd say that counts for something.
But what I said, what I did, you must be so ashamed of me.
Jeder macht mal einen
Not at all,
Fehler.
Athena. After all, I did the exact same thing last time I was questioned.
What? You did?
Yes.
But why?
Es war die einzige Chance, den Fall am Laufen zu halten.
Being summoned to a new world in order to defend someone accused of murder? Just the idea alone is enough to throw anyone off their game. Even so, I approached that trial like I would any other back in the day. And that naivete cost me greatly. I was completely unprepared. Maybe more than I'd ever been. I was no match for the prosecution's case against Rainbow. It all came to a head when the
Trixie.
prosecution summoned a key eyewitness that could place Rainbow at the murder scene. It seemed like an airtight, conclusive testimony at first, but the cross-examination revealed that it contained several contradictions. Contradictions that suggested the witness herself could be the true culprit of the murder. That witness
was Fluttershy. Die arme Fluttershy.
Wait, what? Fluttershy?
Yup.
No, that can't be true. There's no way you would have done that. I mean, I know I only just met her, but she's Fluttershy. She's too yellow.
Too yellow.
But it did happen, Athena.
I was desperate. The judge was about to hand down the guilty verdict, and I needed a way to stop it from happening. So, even though I was aware of the
manchmal
severity
ist die
of the
Verzweiflung stärker.
I indicted Fluttershy on the charge of murder.
Boss, you didn't really think that...
She was guilty?
Nein, niemals.
Not in the slightest. But what I did made Twilight lose almost all of her faith in me. Sure, I managed to prolong the trial for at least another day, but the cost was far higher than I could have expected.
Is that why you tried to stop me, Twilight?
Yes. As you know, I was Phoenix's co-counsel during that trial. I couldn't believe he'd ever do such a thing. At the time, I thought he was really trying to accuse Fluttershy. It wasn't until later that I learned he was trying to find another way to save Rainbow. I just wish it didn't have to be that way.
But that doesn't matter, right? Because in the end, you won.
True, but what I did could have made us lose sight of something even more important than the trial's outcome.
Something even more important?
The truth.
The truth? What does he mean by that? Isn't that the same thing as fighting for someone's innocence?
Nicht ganz.
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to please return to your seat in the gallery. The attorney and her counsel need time to prepare their case before the trial resumes.
I'd better get going then. Wouldn't want the bailiff to yell at me. Good luck, you two.
Thank you, Phoenix.
Thanks, boss.
Athena.
Yeah, Twilight?
I know you regret accusing Sakura, and I am thankful that you apologized to her. However, what happened during the trial, it just reopened some old wounds.
Das glaube ich dir gerne, Twilight.
Twilight.
Even so, I can't dwell on what's already past. I said last night that I would stand with you in court, and that's exactly what I intend to do. If we want to save Turning Page and Scootaloo, we should focus on the rest of the trial. After that, we can work things out between us.
That's the spirit.
Right.
Besides, I think it's about time we ask those two some questions.
Huh? Oh, Scootaloo! Turning Page!
Hey. Hello, Princess Twilight. Miss Sykes.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're fine. It's just... this whole trial thing is kind of exhausting.
Tja, du wolltest unbedingt mal dabei sein.
If you think you're up to it, we'd like to ask you more about the case. There are still a lot of blank spots to fill in after all.
Sure. I'll do everything I can to help. Ask us anything.
Ich mag diesen Sprecher immer noch total gerne von Turning
I'd like
Page.
to ask you to clarify something for us, Turning Page.
Yes?
Apple Bloom mentioned yesterday that after you all went for lunch on the day of the incident, your mother found you and hurried you away.
That's right, yes?
Can you tell us why?
You've probably already figured it out, but it was because of what I did. Like always, it seems.
It seems...
It has something to do with Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, doesn't it?
Diamond Tiara, to be specific. When I attacked her earlier that day, her dress got dirty. She told her mom about what happened. And then we went to see my mom.
Right. This is all stuff we heard in the trial earlier.
Oh Mann.
After Mom heard about what happened, she went to go find me. She was really mad, and wanted me to apologize to Diamond Tiara and her mother.
Oh wei.
I don't see why I should have to.
Das ist...
I don't regret what I did. Not one bit.
Das glaube ich dir aufs Wort.
A true member of the Royal Guard should never have to apologize for doing the right thing.
Sorry, Turning. What about the money, though? It wasn't just an apology Spoiled Rich wanted.
Yeah, I know. That whole discussion happened after Mom brought me back home. Diamond and her mother came over so I could formally apologize. And that's when Mrs. Rich demanded my mom to pay her back for the dresses. Before I could even try anything, Mom sent me away. She forced me to stay in my room the whole time they were talking. I overheard everything, though. I couldn't believe Mom agreed to pay back the bits. We don't have that kind of money.
Mann.
If only she would have let me at that mare, I would have...
Sorry, did you say Mrs. Rich and Diamond Tiara came over to your house?
Yeah? Why?
Could this... Wait, no.
No. Go ahead, Athena. Have you thought of something?
Well, I guess... You think maybe Diamond Tiara could have planted the magazines at that point?
It does line up very nicely with our theory. I assume you didn't see anything, Turning Page?
Yeah. I was in my room the whole time after apologizing. I don't know what happened in the house after that, aside from the conversation between my mom and Mrs. Rich.
Well, without Turning Page's testimony, it's unfortunately not conclusive. I doubt Fair Devotion saw anything, so at this point it's still only a theory.
That clears up that mystery for now, I hope. Now for another one. Turning, Scootaloo, can I ask you two something else?
What is it, Miss Sykes?
What actually happened that night in the forest, when you arrived at the blackmail site?
Sure. We can tell you about that. Right, Turning?
Yeah.
So what happened?
You kind of figured this out yesterday, but there was a fight there. Between Turning Page and me, and Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Could you go over it for us? Any details you can remember will help, even if they're small or might not seem important.
Well... We got there at exactly 10, but it looks like we were the only ones to arrive. Here we are. This is the meeting place.
Are you ready, Scootaloo?
Yeah. We just have to make sure we get what we came here for. Can you pass me the roll of golden silk?
Are you sure? I can keep holding it with my magic.
I know, but now that we're here, I feel like it's my responsibility.
Alright.
Thanks, Turning. Now, where are they? Oh! Turning, get back! If they see your face, they'll freak.
Well. Looks like you do have brains in those heads of yours after all. Or two of you, at least. Which one of you was too scared to come? Let me guess.
Ha, knock it off, you two. It's Scootaloo. I'm here by myself with, an escort. Now give me our stuff back!
Scootaloo? Ha! How hilarious! You were the only one who didn't chicken out. You see, it's funny because she...
Miss Scootaloo told you to knock it off! Now hand over everything you stole, villains!
Oh, boy.
Wait, you? You brought him with you?
Why him? Does it matter? Let's just get this over with.
Do you have it then?
Yes, you can have your stupid golden silk, alright? Now give us our stuff back like you promised.
I don't know. It seems like you didn't fully honor our deal.
What? What are you talking about?
DT? You read the letter, didn't you? Then you would have known we expected all three of you to come, not just one of you. And not only that, you decided to bring some pony else along. That wasn't allowed according to our demands. Isn't that right, Silver Spoon?
Oh, yes, exactly. Of course. Actually, Diamond Tiara, your letter didn't say anything about that.
You brought that with you?
Uh-huh. I thought you might try to pull something like this. All your letter says is to come here without any adults. It doesn't say it has to be all three of us, or that we can't bring anybody else along. I brought you what you wanted. That should be...
Hey! Scootaloo! I don't think you understand how this works. I don't care what the letter says. I'm the one in charge here, and you'll do as I say. And as far as I'm concerned, you broke the rules. Tell you
Hau
what,
ihr eins über die Mütze.
back and get us another roll. Maybe we'll think about giving you your stuff back. We'll stay here, don't you worry.
DT, we don't really need two, though, do we? And it's getting darker already.
First you blackmail the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and then you won't even hold up your end of the deal. You have no sense of honor. You'll pay for this.
Jawohl. Das war überfällig.
I swung my sword at Diamond Tiara, and she fell onto Silver Spoon. She dropped the fabric and knocked Silver's glasses off at the same time.
At that point, Turning Page told me to take the scooter, fabric, everything, and flee the scene with them. I quickly scrambled to gather everything up, but because I was in a hurry, I forgot to pick up the Blackmail Letter. I dropped it when Diamond Tiara grabbed the fabric from me. Once I had everything else, though, I was ready to leave. I wanted to stick around and make sure he would make it out alright, but he insisted he'd be fine, so eventually I did.
It was a good thing, too, because by then, the two fillies had recovered. Diamond Tiara was furious, but because of that, she didn't watch where she was going. Right as she attempted to follow Scootaloo, she stomped on Silver's glasses, breaking them. But they were still coming. I could have hit them again, but had an even better idea. Using my magic, I grabbed Diamond Tiara's little tiara and chucked it into the gorge. That did the job. Diamond Tiara screamed and dragged Silver Spoon down the stairs after it. And that was when I left.
And that's it. That's everything that we know about what happened at the castle that night.
I don't even know where to begin with all that.
What I'd like to know is why you kept this from us. I know you didn't have time yesterday, but what about this morning? This would have been helpful to know before the trial.
Allerdings.
Or even earlier in court, in fact, when we tried to establish exactly when and how you two left the scene.
There's a reason for that, actually.
What's the reason, then?
Well, it was because of Princess Luna. She told us to keep quiet about it.
What?
How we both left the scene, I mean.
What? Wait, so you mean when you spoke with her earlier this morning, she told you not to mention that, even to us?
Not exactly. Princess Luna said we should tell you before the trial began. But we shouldn't say anything in court. At least, not until something could prove the scooter had left the scene at one point. Otherwise, it would have looked like a lie. Since the scooter was found at the
Wow, wie weit Luna gedacht hat. Wahnsinn.
But,
Ich finde das so genial, dass man ihr diese Rolle so reinschreibt.
well, you know what happened.
Luna denkt wirklich schon über 5 Ecken hinaus.
Luna was trying to help us before the trial even started.
Wahnsinn.
That was rather smart of her.
Oh ja.
It's almost eerie how she knew. It makes me wonder what'll happen when we step
Wie gesagt,
outside
ich
the
bin der
courtroom.
Meinung,
If there's
Luna
anything
weiß schon
Luna
ganz
can
genau,
see.
was, wie und warum
Not
passiert
sure how
ist.
to feel knowing that.
Und sie versucht halt, Athena in die richtige Richtung zu schubsen, dass sie wirklich das alles ordentlich aufarbeitet.
Out of curiosity, Scootaloo, how far did you get on your scooter? And how did it end up back at the crime scene?
Well, I can't really say. I was so scared being in the forest that I couldn't keep track of how far I got.
Well then, how fast can you go on your scooter? Maybe we can estimate the distance based on that.
If I'm on my scooter, I'd say I can usually shave off about 1/3 of how long it'd usually take on hoof. But that's about as accurate as I can get. Sorry.
That's all
Ist ja schon mal ein Anfang.
When would you say you left the blackmail site itself?
I don't really know. Maybe about 5 minutes after we got there?
So at around 10:05 then. It normally takes 15 minutes to walk from the castle to Zeccora's hut, so it would have taken Scootaloo about 10. She'd pass by at around 10:15, which means Zeccora wouldn't have seen her go by.
Turning page, when did you leave the scene?
About a minute after Miss Scootaloo.
And you went the same way she did, right?
Right?
Does that mean you were the shadowy figure that Zeccora saw?
Yes. That was me.
Did you see Scootaloo or anything else out of the ordinary while leaving? Maybe someone carrying the scooter back to the scene?
I'm afraid not, Miss Sykes.
Really? Then how did the scooter get back to the crime
Das
scene?
ist die Frage.
Defendants, attorney, the trial's about to resume. Head back inside on the double.
Looks like we'll have to figure that out later.
Scootaloo? Turning page. You two head on in first, okay?
Okay, Twilight. Come on, Turning.
Well, I guess we'd better go in too. You ready, Athena?
About as ready as I can be, I suppose. Let's go, Twilight.
Pardon me for...
Oh! Private Eye! Nice!
Private Eye? What's he doing here?
Sir, might the defense have a moment longer before they enter the courtroom? It's urgent.
I don't get paid extra to babysit toddy lawyers, you know. But fine. A few minutes, maximum.
Splendid. Thank you, sir.
What do you mean by urgent, Private Eye?
Was hat er für ein dringendes Anliegen?
Here you would do well to look through. First, are you aware of the clearing in the forest between the crossroads and Zeccora's hut?
I see it, yeah. Right here. What about it?
An investigation was recently performed there, and traces of a wiped bloodstain were found. You can see it right here in this photograph.
Noch mehr Blut.
And do you know who the blood belongs to?
I do. The blood has been identified as belonging to the victim.
What?
Royal Order.
What? Really?
The tests confirm it, Miss Sykes. The blood is, without question, that of the victim.
Ist aber ganz schön weit weg vom Ort des Tatorts.
Oh, this changes so much. Thank you, Private Eye.
Vermute mal, Luna hat das Foto auch schon.
You needn't thank me, Miss Sykes. I am simply the messenger.
You mean somebody else was responsible for this investigation?
Indeed, Princess. A mutual acquaintance of ours, you might say.
A mutual acquaintance? So, did this mutual acquaintance find anything else?
Könnte das zufällig Sonata gewesen sein?
Near the crossroads. Take a look.
This is
the broken handlebar.
Ah.
Scooter.
You say this was found near the crossroads?
That is correct. Specifically,
Das würde bedeuten, dass der Tatort vielleicht doch ganz woanders liegt.
It seems my team missed it during our investigation of the woods.
If the handlebar was found at the crossroads, then I guess that answers the question of how far Scootaloo made it on her scooter.
And it broke off somehow after she got there?
But how would it have broken?
What's the second thing you have for us, Private Eye?
This, Princess.
A piece of wood? What's so special about that?
Ah, is that what I think it is?
Indeed, Princess. It's a Timberwolf.
Oh, jetzt wird's langsam interessant.
In front of the Nightmare Knight statue. We didn't think anything of it at first, but our mutual acquaintance realized it possessed the same enchantment found in Timberwolves. As to why it was at the statue, or if it's related to the current incident, I can't say for certain.
Ein Timberwolf-Fangzahn, also. Ah, so langsam ergibt das, was im Intro zu sehen war, beim allerersten Part Sinn.
Wow, what a haul! I sure hope I can meet this pony so I can thank them for all of this. Now we just have to make it count. Thank you for delivering all of this to us, Private Eye. We appreciate it.
You are very welcome, Miss Sykes. I wish you both the best.
Oh, before you go, Private Eye, can you do something for me?
Certainly, Your Highness.
Could you contact this mutual acquaintance for us? I'm not sure if it'll lead to anything, but I'd like for the crossroads to be tested forensically.
I'll get to work immediately, Princess.
Thank you, Private Eye.
Are you about done over there? Tick-tock, you two.
Jetzt reg dich ab, Mann.
Sorry, we'll be right there. Come on, Twilight. We'd better hurry.
Right.
Private Eye ist wirklich echt, das ist so ein geiler Charakter. So, ab zurück ins Gericht. Luna wartet schon.
Court is back in session. Prosecutor Luna, were you able to obtain results on the glass shards that the defense submitted?
Yes, Your Honor. Careful reconstruction of the shards revealed that they matched Miss Silverspoon's prescription, as the defense postulated. We were also able to confirm that the young filly received a brand new pair of glasses yesterday afternoon. This makes it nigh impossible for the shards to belong to any pony but her.
To think more children could be involved in this horrific murder. The court acknowledges this report as evidence. Is Miss Silverspoon ready to take the stand?
Yes, she is. Along with Diamond Tiara.
Then please bring them in.
Finally! We've got them on the stand. This is where the real battle begins.
Na dann, gutes Gelingen.
Witnesses, please state your names for the record.
OMC, it's her, DT! Look, you see? Be quiet, Silver. You're embarrassing me for Princess Luna.
Habt ihr nicht gehört, was sie gesagt hat?
Can you state your names, please?
What? Don't you know who I am?
To some extent, yes. Though none of it is particularly good.
Well, if you know who I am, then why should I have to be the one to tell every pony else?
Weil das nun mal die Regeln sind vor Gericht, du verzogene Göre.
Country bumpkins. We're the elite of the elite.
Really making a great first impression, aren't you?
Ja.
Hey! Oh man!
Yes, young filly?
Das war ja abzusehen.
You are, don't you?
I can't say I do, I'm afraid.
We're only two of the richest, most well-known, most esteemed ponies you could ever have the pleasure of meeting.
Children!
Jawohl! Danke, Luna!
Social status is completely irrelevant. In the eyes of the law, you are not richer, more well-known, or better than others.
Thank you, Luna!
Before this court, you will state your names and occupations, just like every pony else who takes the stand.
What a way to put these brats in their place, huh?
Yes, Your Highness. I'm Diamond Tiara, daughter of Filthy Rich, owner of Rich's Barnyard Bargains.
And I'm Silverspoon. Her friend.
Ja.
Her best friend, by the way.
Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Silverspoon, may I ask you about your glasses?
What about them?
You just got that pair yesterday, correct?
Yeah, so? My other pair didn't fit me anymore, so I...
Don't even bother. Your other pair broke 2 nights ago. We found its shards near the castle of the two sisters. What's more, we have witness testimony that can prove when they were broken as well. So tell us, how did your glasses break?
Well, well, Golden Pixie. It seems that recess did you some good. You aren't the quivering mess from before.
Golden Pixie? What kind of lame name is that?
Hey!
Witness, you may not have heard this from the previous session, but there will be no disparagement in my court. Do not insult the defense, or I will hold you in contempt, regardless of your age.
Thanks,
Danke sehr.
But really, we're still sticking with Golden Pixie.
Ehrlich gesagt finde ich den Namen irgendwie niedlich.
Miss Silverspoon, It is time both you and Miss Diamond Tiara testify as to how they broke in the first place.
I have to explain?
That is what testifying usually amounts to, yes.
Well, Your Honor, we'd be glad to explain ourselves.
What?
Die Animation war gerade wunderschön smooth.
We sure would.
Now then, please begin your testimony.
Das war echt gut. How the glasses broke. Jetzt sind wir mal gespannt.
Silver Spoon and I were gonna head to the castle ruins for a school assignment. We entered the forest around 9:45. Right before we got to the ruins, we saw one of those blanks and that colt running away.
We only figured out why once we got there. There was a dead statue lying on the ground. I was so startled that I tripped and stepped on my glasses.
So you got there only after everything had played out?
If you consider the time they entered the forest, they would most likely have arrived at the scene around 10:20. The blackmail negotiation took place at 10. Clearly, they could not have been involved.
I'm sure that little impossibility will disappear once I find a flaw in these two fillies' words. That said, this is a bit of a problem. I have to deal with two witnesses testifying at the same time. How am I supposed to do that?
Ganz ruhig.
You all right, Athena? You look a little rattled.
Kinda. This is my first time dealing with two witnesses at once, and they seem to back each other up pretty well.
I wouldn't exactly say that.
Huh?
Yes, it may seem that they're able to form a wall to stop us, but one of them could just as easily be its weak link. We have good reason to believe they're lying, and lies always beget more lies. See through one.
And the whole story falls apart.
So ist es.
I have to do is find a contradiction in one of their statements.
Müssen wir jetzt wirklich das Einmaleins der Anwälte durchgehen?
Exactly. It should just be like any other testimony. Although, I suggest that you pay attention to how they respond to each other when you're questioning them. It could prove beneficial.
I'll make sure to do just that.
Cross-examination.
Silver Spoon and I were gonna head to the castle ruins for a school assignment.
You went to the ruins for a school assignment?
Specifically, a history assignment. We figured researching the castle of the two sisters would be perfect for it.
You didn't think going there at night was dangerous? Entering the Everfree Forest at all was risky enough, let alone going as far as the ruins.
Well, we just figured that, the thrill of learning in a dangerous place would lead us to the answers we need.
It's all about immersion! What better way to learn than by absorbing history straight from the source?
The number of problems in that explanation is so high that I could only call it offensive. These two clearly have no respect for the value of education.
Definitiv nicht.
Oh, that's beside the point. We already know
Das gefällt Twilight wirklich überhaupt nicht.
Continue with your testimony, please.
Oh God.
We entered the forest around 9:45.
Moment mal.
You went to the forest by yourselves? Why didn't you bring any adults with you?
Ha! As if they would come even if we asked! My parents are always working at the Ponyville Hospital. Won't even take a single day off to spend time with their daughter.
Oh.
Hey! Don't give me that look! My father's always attending business meetings or managing his company. I seem just as little as you see your parents.
You have your mother, though. She could spend all the time in the world with you.
If only.
Children, now is not the time to talk about your family matters.
Blah, 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 blah.
I can at least empathize with their parents not spending that much time with them. They're lucky they have each other, I guess.
Der ist zwar richtig mies.
That's the ruins. We saw one of those blanks and that colt running away.
That doesn't make any sense. Scootaloo and Turning Page didn't mention seeing you on the path.
And what's stopping them from simply lying about that? You're going to have to provide us with something more definitive if you want to discredit this testimony.
Das ist leider wahr.
Right. Diamond and Silver, could you please tell us where you were when you encountered them?
Sure. We saw them right around here.
So, right before you crossed the bridge then? Can you confirm this as well, Silver?
Yeah, that's the spot.
Wait a minute. Did you two run into anyone else before that point?
Nope. No pony at all.
No, we didn't.
Tja.
Your Honor, I'd like to have that statement.
Das ist eine Lüge. Wir wissen, dass da noch jemand war.
Witnesses, please continue with your new statement.
We didn't encounter any pony else before crossing the bridge.
Einspruch!
Diamond Tiara, there's something blatantly wrong with that statement.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
You said you saw no pony else before crossing the bridge, but that is impossible.
Warum wird das No Pony so hervorgehoben? Bitte sag mir nicht, dass sie sich so daraus reden, wie ich denke.
You should have seen that night. The one pony, or should I say zebra, living in the forest, Zecora. If the court remembers from her testimony, Zecora remained standing on the forest path after she saw Turning Page and Scootaloo walk by. If Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon entered the forest afterwards, then it would have been impossible for them to not have seen Zecora. Objection!
The forest was dark at the time. It is possible they may have overlooked her.
Objection!
Nicht so schnell.
Zecora was paying close attention to the path to see if any pony followed Scootaloo and Turning Page. By her account, no one did, and I find it hard to believe that both parties managed to miss seeing each other.
How so? Zecora went back home after a period of time, did she not? It's possible that the two fillies could have passed by at that point.
Not according to their testimony. Diamond herself claimed that she and Silver entered the forest at 9:45. That means they would have walked by Zecora roughly 20 minutes afterward. However, according to Zecora, she was standing watch on the path until 10:10. Knowing that, it'd be impossible for them to miss each other.
Then what are we to make of this?
There's only one possibility. Diamond and Silver must have passed by Zecora's hut before she was standing watch. In other words, they must have entered the forest before Scootaloo and Turning did.
Well, witnesses, what do you have to say in your defense?
The funny thing is, well, you see...
Okay, yes, it's true. We were already at the ruins before those...
Du bist aber schnell eingebrochen.
We actually entered the forest around 9:15.
Ha! I was right.
But why would you lie about something like that?
I suspect that they wish to distance themselves time-wise from when they were present at the crime scene. After all, now that we know when they actually entered the forest, we have a good reason to suspect they took part in what occurred there prior to the murder.
You mean the blackmail?
Yes, Your Honor. Let's take a look at that blackmail letter one more time. The letter states that the negotiations were to take place at 10. Now, knowing that they entered the forest around 9:15, we can calculate that they would have arrived at the castle ruins around 9:50. In other words, 10 minutes before the negotiations started.
Diamond and Silver didn't want to be tied to the blackmailing, so they lied about when they entered to make it sound like they'd arrived too late to be involved.
Hey, human!
Yes?
I just want to say that everything that you're saying about me being part of a blackmailing is a load of horse apples!
I'm pretty sure that was mostly Twilight. Whatever.
Yeah, us? Involved in blackmailing? Please.
Oh, then why did you lie to us about the time?
Ganz ruhig.
Saying when we actually got to that castle would connect us to that murder.
That we had nothing to do with, by the way.
Would you care to clarify for us, witness?
Certainly, Princess. We were witnesses to the murder itself. That's why we didn't want anybody to know we were there. Right, Sylvie?
Yeah, right.
What? You've got to be kidding me!
Witnesses! Lying in your testimony is to commit perjury, a crime irrespective of your monetary or social status. Since you are young, I will grant some degree of leniency, but only just this once. I expect you to testify truthfully as to what you saw on the night of the murder from this point onwards.
Of course, Your Honor.
Witnessing the crime.
Like we said before, we went to the castle ruins for a school assignment.
We suddenly heard a loud noise, and we immediately looked across the court to see what happened. There was a stallion lying down on the ground, and those two were standing over him.
Afterwards, they ran away, and that was when Diamond and I went to the scene.
Before we start the cross-examination, I'd like to ask the two of you some questions.
Yes, Princess.
When you arrived at the scene, was there any pony else present?
No, I'm pretty sure there wasn't.
In that case, would you say that Turning Page and Scootaloo were the ones who killed the victim?
Well, all we saw was them standing next to the body.
Yeah, that's all.
Sie scheuen sich von der richtigen
Now then,
Anschuldigung.
Golden Pixie, please begin the cross-examination.
Okay. Why did Luna ask them those questions? Is she trying to guide me somewhere again? Never mind that. Focus!
Ich hatte so ein bisschen das Gefühl gerade, als ob sie versucht hatte, eine weitere Lüge aus denen herauszukitzeln.
Like we said before, we went to the castle ruins for a school assignment.
We suddenly heard a loud noise, and we immediately looked across the gorge to see what happened.
Hold it! When and where did you hear this loud noise?
Well, we can't really say when we heard it, but it was definitely some sort of clang. We heard it from inside the castle entrance.
A clang? Zecora testified that she heard a clang as well at around 10:15. Do you think that's when you might have heard it?
Yeah, that's probably when we heard the clang. Huh?
What?
What was that response from Silver Spoon? Why did she sound so surprised?
You're not the only one who noticed that, Athena. I heard it too. This could be the weak link in their testimony.
Really?
Whatever Diamond said made Silver react. Perhaps she has a different opinion about that statement. I think it'd be a good idea to press this even further.
Das glaube ich aber auch.
Give it a shot. Hang on!
Moment mal.
Silver Spoon? I couldn't help but notice that you seemed to be deep in thought. Did it have anything to do with what Diamond said?
Yeah, it did. You see, I didn't hear just one clang. I'm pretty sure I heard two.
Dieser Blick immer rüber, geil! Das ist der Hammer.
Sylvie? What are you talking about? We heard only one clang that night.
But I'm sure there were two.
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, do you have any idea why you heard a different number of clangs?
Look, we're just confused. But can you blame us? We just witnessed a murder in front of our eyes.
Ja. Nee, eben nicht.
We're testifying. You said you only saw what happened after the murder.
Eben.
Are you now saying that you saw the murder itself?
Nicht hin und her springen.
Well...
Answer the question.
Yes! We did! We saw the whole thing.
Can you confirm this as well, Silver Spoon?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like a statement about what they saw to be added to the testimony.
Agreed. Witnesses?
Yeah, we know what to do, old man.
Oh, ihr solltet besser aufpassen.
We saw those two knock the stallion to the ground and immediately stab him afterwards.
Das haben wir letztes Mal schon geklärt. Das kann nicht sein.
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, you have once again lied to this court.
Hey! What gives?
Because what you just said is impossible.
What?
Care to explain, Miss Sykes?
Of course, Your Honor. Earlier in this trial, we proved that the victim couldn't have been stabbed immediately after being knocked over. The side he was laying on contradicts the abdominal bruise noted in the autopsy report. He must have stood up after being knocked to the ground. However, Diamond Tiara just claimed the opposite. She and Silver Spoon saw Turning and Scootaloo stab the victim right after knocking him
Das
over.
kann nicht sein.
Ah!
How interesting, Golden Pixie. But where exactly are you going with this?
Where you've been directing us this whole time. Now I get why you were so focused on this point earlier in the trial. It was all for this trap, wasn't it? If Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon did see the murder happen, they would have known this. But the very fact that they made this mistake proves that they did not see the murder at all.
Tja.
Witnesses! You better have a good explanation for this!
Well, we...
Perhaps I could be of assistance here.
What do you mean, Prosecutor Luna?
What is she planning this time?
Your Honor, I request that these two testify one last time.
Testify? About what?
About what happened when they approached the victim's body.
I see. Defense, your thoughts?
Immer her damit.
Reached the heart of this whole trial. Diamond and Silver are the key to finding out what happened at the castle that night.
Once we hear this testimony, I have a feeling this trial will take a rather dramatic turn.
Twilight?
Just focus on the testimony for now, Athena.
All right. The defense agrees, Your Honor. Let's hear what they have to say.
Very well. Witnesses, please testify about what happened when you approached the body.
Witnessing the crime.
Silver and I were deep in the castle ruins, so we didn't know what was going on outside. After we were done exploring, we left the castle, and then we came across a dead body at the gorge. No pony was around. All we saw was the body. Sylvie was so shocked, she fell backward and broke her glasses. We wanted to run away immediately, but then we saw the zebra in the distance. We had to hide so we wouldn't be seen.
Das dürfte ein bisschen schwer durchzubrechen sein.
That you saw Scootaloo and Turning Page at the scene, but now you claim you didn't see any pony? Why's that? The silent treatment, huh? That's all right. I'm pretty sure I know why.
Yep.
Care to fill us in, Golden Pixie?
They knew that Scootaloo and Turning would be at the scene. By matching their testimony to that fact, they wanted to make their testimonies more credible.
Is this true, witnesses?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Still denying it, are you?
Na klar.
I have a question I'd like to ask myself, witness. You said that you hid from Zecora when she arrived. Where exactly?
There are some stairs going down to the gorge. We figured that was the best place to hide.
Das stimmt sogar, dass sie da runter sind, nach dem, was die beiden vorher gesagt haben.
Once she was,
Also,
we
Turning Page und
quietly
Scootaloo.
followed and left the forest.
The staircase? Didn't Turning say that's where they went when he threw Diamond's crown? I wonder.
Now then, Miss Sykes, you may begin your cross-examination.
Auf geht's.
Silver and I were deep in the castle ruins, so we didn't know what was going on outside.
Hold it! I want to talk about that clang you two heard. You said you heard one, but Silver claims she heard too. Any idea why you didn't hear the same thing? Or what it could have been?
Probably something inside the castle. One of the noises must have come from deeper within and only Sylvie caught it.
The castle contains armor from an older time.
Oh, das ging ihr schwer über die Lippen, das hat man gemerkt.
Yet, Zecora heard a similar sound at around the same time.
It could just be a coincidence. Maybe the noises we heard happened at the same time, but came from different places.
Another discussion that will clearly bear no fruit. I do hope you'll spare us the displeasure, Golden Pixie.
Yeah. Unless I have definitive proof of what this noise was, this will get us nowhere. I suppose I should just move on.
Vermutlich.
Please continue with your testimony.
After we were done exploring, we left the castle, and then we came across a dead body at the gorge.
Hold it! And the two of you actually approached the body?
Well, it was right there, at the foot of the bridge. It's not like there's any way we could avoid it. Admittedly, we didn't know he was dead at first. We thought he just passed out or something. But when we saw that hole in his head, there was no question. He was dead. Ugh, I still feel sick just thinking about it.
Das kann ich sogar nachempfinden.
That... Something seems off about that. But what? If you really examined the body, could you describe the scene for me in as much detail as possible?
Ugh, fine. There was that dead body with a hole in his head. The blank scooter and wagon were
Ist er nicht auf die Seite mit dem Loch gefallen? Die hätten das doch, glaube ich, gar nicht sehen können. Meint sie das?
And that's it, I think.
That's it?
Yes, that's it. What else do you want?
And the only thing that clued you into the victim's death was the hole in his head?
Oh my gosh, yes! What else do you expect? You'd think the same thing if you saw it.
That's it. In that case, could you please add that statement to your testimony?
Sure. If it makes you shut up.
Oh, bei weitem nicht. Noch lange nicht. Da seid ihr sehr dämlich, wenn ihr das glaubt.
Stelling was dead because the hole in his head.
Objection! There's something seriously wrong with that statement.
What? I'm actually telling the truth! You asked me about what I saw, and that's what I saw!
Miss Sykes, could you clarify the issue for us?
Your Honor, I believe Diamond Tiara is correct in what she's claiming. Everything she said about her discovery of the body is the truth. However, if she did examine the crime scene as thoroughly as she claims, then she should have seen something else at the scene.
Something else?
Das Blut?
Enough games, Defense. Get to the point.
Tell me something, Diamond. You really had no idea the victim was dead until you saw the hole in his head?
Obviously! How else could I have known?
Das Blut?
Well, I think the bloodstain under his head would have given it away.
Wait, a bloodstain? Under his head? What are you talking about?
Look at this photograph. It certainly looks like a bloodstain. Even Zecora testified to its existence, and how it was her first indication that the victim may have been dead. Yet you claim that you had no idea until you saw the victim's wound. Why's that?
Oh, give me a break! That's not a bloodstain, you idiots! That's just one of the dumb Crusaders' capes. Obviously, I wouldn't have thought it was
schon wieder eine Reaktion. Oh. Jetzt hat sie sich verraten.
Because you just admitted that you knew this bloodstain was a cape. In fact, you were so certain it never even made you suspect that the victim may have been dead when you were approaching the body. That begs the question, though. How did you know?
Gosh! Isn't it obvious? I didn't know it at first. I figured it out when I got close to the body.
If that was the case, you would have mentioned it during your testimony. There's no way it just slipped your mind. Something as eye-catchingly red as this, lying directly under a body, would definitely make an impression. For you to fail to mention it, There's only one possibility. When you first approached the body, this cape wasn't there!
Wait. So, that means...
Nice to see you following along, Your Honor. If the cape wasn't present when these witnesses first approached the body, then that means it was placed there after they discovered it. And since Diamond knew right away that this was a cape, it should be obvious who must have placed it. Diamond, Tiara, and Silver Spoon? It was you two!
Order! Order! Miss Sykes, are you accusing these two fillies of
Absolut.
crime scene?
I am, Your Honor.
Wait a sec! This is ridiculous! Why would we do such a thing?
Das ist einfach.
It was a dead body! Covered in blood! Why would we even go near it?
I'm pretty sure I know exactly why. It's because of this, isn't it? You two wrote this blackmail letter and got Scootaloo and Turning Page to meet you at the crime scene. But instead of things going your way, a fight broke out and you had to leave without getting what you wanted. In retaliation,
die Musik
you
ist so
framed
geil.
Scootaloo for the murder. Objection!
Come now, Golden Pixie. Surely your memory isn't that bad. The clippings which make up the letter in question were found in Fair Devotion's home. These two couldn't have been involved.
Doch.
That might have been the case earlier, Prosecutor Luna, but not anymore.
Is that so? Then please elucidate the court.
Do you remember what we learned earlier? About how Turning ruined these witnesses' dresses and what Spoiled Rich demanded?
Of course. That very incident was the impetus for the blackmail.
Well, during the recess, Turning Page told us about something else that happened afterwards.
Something else?
It's true that Spoiled Rich wanted Fair Devotion to pay for the damages, but she also wanted Turning Page to personally apologize for what he did. Which is why she brought Diamond to Fair Devotion's house when she went to discuss the compensation.
I see. And why is that important, Miss Sykes?
Your Honor, the prosecution claims that the fact that the magazine cuttings were found in Fair Devotion's house shows that she was the blackmailer. However, what Turning Page told us opens up another possibility, that the magazines were planted there for authorities to find. Planted by the one pony who had the perfect opportunity to do so.
Diamond Tiara.
Diamond Tiara!
Defense? That is speculation at best, and it relies entirely on Turning Page and Fair Devotion's testimonies being the truth. You must provide solid evidence. I will not tolerate yet another baseless accusation.
Don't worry, Prosecutor Luna. I don't intend on making the same mistake.
Is that so? Then, by all means, proceed.
During the recess, I learned about what happened during the negotiations. As I said before, a fight broke out between Turning Page and Scootaloo, and Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. During the fight, Scootaloo left the scene on her scooter, taking the stolen capes and fabric roll with her in the wagon. Turning Page followed afterwards, but not before he tossed Diamond Tiara's tiara into the gorge to distract the fillies. What happened afterward is revealed by these witnesses' last testimony. Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon went down the stairs to get the tiara back, and saw Royal Order's body when they came back up. Wanting revenge, they framed Scootaloo for his death by planting the cape under his head.
I can't believe these two fellas did such a dirty deed. What a pair of rats.
But would they go this far? This can't be true!
Nicely done, Athena. You've created an opening for us.
Yeah. But will it be enough?
Ja, wahrscheinlich nicht. Schweig still!
How dare I think it was?
You've put up a good fight, but you're still lacking, Golden Pixie.
Lacking?
Your story is precisely that. A story. One of fiction.
How so?
The scooter left behind at the scene. It contradicts your narrative. You claim that Scootaloo left the scene with that scooter, but she couldn't have. After all, the scooter was found at the crime
Aber es
scene
gibt
itself.
Beweise dafür.
In addition, your argument as to why these two witnesses would try to frame Scootaloo for murder makes no sense.
Why not?
Recall the wagon. When it was found, The roll of golden silk lay in its bed, the very item that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon supposedly demanded. It was free for the taking. They would have gotten what they wanted. There was no reason to retaliate. And since they didn't take the roll, that suggests they were not responsible for the blackmailing in the first place.
That's no bueno.
Oops.
Do you see now, Golden Pixie? Your claims are rife with holes. If the two fillies at the stand really did as you claim, then what would they gain by placing the cape under the victim's head? I highly recommend taking a good moment to rethink your theory. This will decide the entire outcome of this trial.
The entire outcome? Talk about pressure. Pushing down on me.
Das Ding geht gerade mal eine Stunde, da kommt echt noch viel.
How am I supposed to do that? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask how I'm supposed to do that, but rather... Hey, Twilight.
Yes, Athena?
Got any ideas on how to get out of this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
Really?
Let's take this step by step. The argument that the cape was placed there to frame Scootaloo doesn't hold.
But how else could it have gotten there? They were the only ones who could have placed it.
Exactly. So what would their reason have been? They're definitely not responsible for Royal Order's death. They're both Earth ponies. They wouldn't be able to stab him in the head if he were standing upright.
Definitiv nicht.
So they wouldn't have been trying to cover up their own crime by framing some pony else. If framing is out of the picture, then maybe the cape had a more practical use.
Practical?
Think back to what Diamond Tiara said about how she felt regarding the body.
That's right. She said she didn't even want to get near it because he was dead and covered in blood.
Exactly. But with the capes being there, one of those problems would cease to be an issue.
I mean, the cape could have been used to grab the victim's head without needing to touch it directly? But why would they need to do that in the first place?
I think they were looking for something. Something so important that they would even look under a dead body to find it. Well, don't you know of something like that?
Something important. Something they were desperate to find. Oh! I got it! Thanks a bunch, Twilight.
Thank yourself, Athena.
Here's hoping my hunch is right.
I take it you found the answer to your little predicament, Golden Pixie?
We certainly have.
Care to share your thoughts, Miss Sykes?
Of course, Your Honor. I believe that Diamond and Silver really did plant this cape under the victim's head that night, but not for the nefarious reason we originally thought.
Oh?
Pling!
Intriguing. Do go on, defense.
The defense believes that Diamond and
Ich
Silver
liebe
were
ihren
looking
Blick.
for something after they found the body. They searched all over, but couldn't find it. Eventually, they must have decided to search under the victim himself. Not wanting to directly touch him, they used the cape to do it. As for what they were looking for, I've got a pretty good idea. Take that!
The blackmail letter?
Oh!
This blackmail letter was found at the crime scene. Scootaloo brought it with her when she went to the castle last night. During the recess, we learned from her that, after the fight, she left the letter behind by accident. After Diamond and Silver saw Royal Order's body, they likely realized that the police would get involved and investigate. If they found the letter, that could implicate them as potential suspects. So, to avoid that, they tried to locate the letter. Unfortunately, they couldn't find it nearby, and eventually resorted to looking under the body. However, while they were looking under his head, they saw Zecora approaching. They couldn't be caught next to the body, so they quickly hid from her, leaving the cape under the victim's head in their haste.
Now, supposing this is true, we can backtrack and support our pre-existing theory. The fact that Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon looked for the letter and feared its discovery shows that they must have known about the blackmail that night.
I get it. This is how we'll change the entire outcome of this trial. If they knew about the blackmail, then that must mean that they, not Fair Devotion or Royal Order, were the true blackmailers. And because of that, any motive for murder Turning Page and Scootaloo may have had is completely squashed.
Well, Golden Pixie, Miss Sparkle, congratulations on piecing all of this together.
Aber, ich glaube, da kommt noch ein großes Aber.
However, There is
Ja,
still
wusste ich's
one more
doch.
piece of this puzzle that needs to be placed.
One more piece?
Definitive proof that these fillies did place the cape
Ja.
under the victim's head.
Das war nämlich die ganze Zeit ein Problem.
Your theory remains nothing more than a theory. Is that something you can provide to the court?
I believe I can.
Oh, kann sie das?
The forensic
Ah.
This forensic flashlight can reveal any hidden bloodstains.
Ah, na klar.
Since the cape found under the head was bloody, chances are the ones who handled it would have gotten traces of blood on their hooves as a result.
Natürlich.
Your Honor, I request permission to use this forensic flashlight on Diamond and Silver's hooves. If we find blood on them, it would be proof that they were the ones who placed the cape under the body.
Wow! You really are a dumb human, aren't you?
Huh?
After we both got home, Silver Spoon and I took a nice, long bath to wipe away all the dirt and filth from that forest. There's no way your magical little flashlight is ever gonna pick up on anything.
Silver Spoon.
Well, we won't know until we try, will we?
Precisely. There's no reason to not check at this stage. The prosecution has no reservations about this test, Your Honor.
I shall permit it. Please proceed, Miss Sykes.
Oh, jetzt wird's interessant. Rufe jetzt. Oh!
Well, look at that. There is something on their hooves.
Something? Das ist eine ganze Menge.
Exactly, Your Honor. And to prove it conclusively, I'd like to have these stains tested. If they match Royal Order's blood, that should be all the evidence we need to prove who placed the cape that night.
Of course. Bailiff, please proceed with the... What
Was?
is it, witness?
We confess!
Wait, what did you just say?
Sylvie! Shut up! Don't say anything!
Die bricht zusammen.
Witness, what exactly are you confessing to?
Your Honor, we confess to blackmailing the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Honor, please give me a chance. I'll explain everything, I promise. Silver.
You're doing the right thing, Miss Silverspoon. Please, proceed to your confession.
Aber ihr solltet vielleicht Diamond Tiara erstmal entfernen da.
After we got attacked by that wannabe royal guard, Diamond Tiara came up with a plan to get back at the CMC. We'd wait until they left their stuff alone, and then we'd take it and leave that note, asking for a roll of golden silk Sweetie Belle told us about.
Why did you ask for that?
Because, well, Diamond Tiara wanted to use it for another new dress.
Hey, don't pin this on me. You wanted it too.
No, I didn't. I told you, I don't care about the fabric. I only agreed to go along with everything because I knew you wanted it. Anyway,
Da kommst du jetzt nicht mehr
I knew
raus.
that blackmailing was a big deal, and we can get in a lot of trouble.
Oh, das ist gerade so befriedigend.
Didn't get caught. Diamond Tiara figured we'd frame that annoying cult's mother for the whole thing. Diamond Tiara knew that her mother was planning to take her to their house for that cult's apology. So she took advantage of that, and planted the magazines in her house to make it
Wow.
look like it was the cult's mother who was behind it all.
How devious.
Yep.
I think it's time for you to confess as well, DT.
Ugh, fine. I guess I don't really have any other choice, thanks to
Nicht
you.
wirklich.
Everything was going according to plan. We brought the scooter and the wagon with us to the Everfree Forest at around 9:15, arriving at the ruins at 9:50. We waited for those blanks to show up, but instead, there was only one of them, and that cult who ruined our dresses. He had the nerve to attack us right there.
Ja, völlig verdient, würde ich mal sagen.
Sword of his, and even broke Sylvie's glasses. Then he threw my tiara down the gorge and ran off when we went to retrieve it. We spent forever looking for it. When we found it and went back up the stairs, that was when we saw the body. We weren't sure if he was really dead until we got close. After we realized it, we knew we had to get rid of anything that could show we were there. We collected the frame of Sylvie's glasses, but we couldn't find the blackmail letter that the blank left behind. That was when I thought that the letter might be under the body. Sylvie and I grabbed one of the capes from the blank's wagon to lift the body up, so we wouldn't have to touch.
Das sieht echt heavy aus, dieses Bild, ey.
I saw that zebra coming our way. We had to run down the stairs again to hide until she left. She stuck around for a bit, but once she finally did, we figured it was time we left the forest as well. It wasn't worth looking for the letter anymore, since we didn't want to risk anybody else showing up and seeing us near the body. I figured if we couldn't find it, the wind must have blown it away into the woods, where it would never be found anyway.
The golden silk was left at the scene, though. Why didn't you grab it when you had the chance?
Ja, das verstehe ich auch nicht so ganz.
So much trouble to get it.
It slipped our minds, all right? We were already scared enough, not just by the fight, but also the dead body. We just wanted to go home at that point.
Anyway, that's everything that happened. The ponies who blackmailed the Cutie Mark Crusaders were us. No pony else.
Tja. Stille.
So then, where does this leave us?
Ja.
Well, Your Honor, with this confession, we've learned something very crucial. Royal Order and Fair Devotion weren't the ones behind the blackmailing. And as a result, Turning Page and Scootaloo have no motive to murder Royal Order. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Luna?
It would seem to be the case, Golden Pixie. Unfortunately, the possibility of these two involved in Royal Order's murder is still on the table.
Leider ja.
What? Oh, but I literally just proved that they had no motive.
That alone is not enough to exonerate them.
Da hat sie leider recht. Es gibt immer noch keinen Beweis dafür, dass die es nicht waren.
While our blackmailing little fillies went down into the gorge.
Prosecutor Luna, could you kindly explain to the court what you mean?
Certainly, Your Honor. Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, could you tell me exactly how long you were searching for that crown?
I don't know. Maybe like 20 minutes? Give or take.
That'll do. Thank you. Your Honor, during the short time Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon were away, Royal Order was killed. It's entirely possible that Scootaloo and Turning Page killed him within that window.
But Scootaloo and Turning left the scene right after the blackmailing. Diamond Tiara just confirmed that, right?
Yeah. The blank left on her scooter, and the cold left soon afterwards.
That's what I saw too.
See? Both of them have
Ja, aber die haben es danach nicht mehr gesehen. Das ist der Punkt.
Meaning that they couldn't have committed the crime.
Das reicht nicht.
How amusing. It seems in your haste, you fail to realize exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Huh?
Don't you recall, Golden Pixie? At the beginning of today's trial, when the subject of bloodstains was first discussed, you claimed that the blood flowing from the victim's head should have formed a pool beneath him. But clearly that did not happen. Originally, it was assumed that this was because of the cape. It had absorbed all the blood, eliminating the presence of a blood pool. However, we've now established that the cape was placed there after the murder. Therefore, it couldn't have absorbed the blood. So, where did all that blood go? It should have coated the entire area around the victim's head. But forensic testing revealed that the amount present was not enough to have come from the head wound. The fact that there was so little blood can only mean one thing. The body was moved from somewhere else and placed at the scene of the blackmail.
Korrekt. Und die Beweise, die Athena noch bekommen hat vor in der Pause, beweisen das ja auch.
If it's a place where Royal Order bled a lot, then
ja.
That's gotta be it, right?
Admittedly, I have no proof of where the actual killing took place.
Oh, hat sie nicht.
However, There is certainly evidence to suggest how the body could have been moved.
What would that be?
Remember the scooter conundrum? These two witnesses have proven that Scootaloo did leave with it. Yet it and the wagon made their way back to the site. Why would that be? The answer is simple. They were using it to move something heavy. That something was the body.
No!
Prosecutor Luna, bear with me. I just want to see if I've got this right. After killing the victim, the defendants placed the body in the scooter's wagon and then drove it back to the blackmail site?
Das ist ehrlich gesagt ein bisschen weit hergeholt.
That's ridiculous! Why would they bring the body to the gorge?
There is but one reason why. To frame Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon for the crime.
What? But they had no reason to do that. The defendants would gain nothing by framing them for murder. Objection!
Das stimmt so nicht ganz.
Nothing, you say? How naive.
Das ist wirklich sehr naiv.
What?
This world is not as innocent as you seem to believe, my wide-eyed little friend. Being blackmailed is more than enough motivation for a pony to frame another for murder.
Da hat sie leider recht.
Your previous accusation of these fillies, Golden Pixie?
That was a stupid argument to make.
Yep.
No, things are even
Das war's
worse.
allerdings.
Come on, think of something else to say. Well, if the wagon really carried that body.
Aber ich glaube, fangen langsam an zu glauben, da kommt noch ein Part. Das kann es noch nicht gewesen sein. Ich glaube nicht, dass sie jetzt in der Stunde das noch alles auflösen. Es sind so viele Fragen noch offen.
This is bad. I know they couldn't have done it, but Luna's gotten rid of any way to prove that.
Well, defense, don't give up on my account. Please continue to run face first into the wall you find before you.
Wow, Luna genießt das richtig.
Fine. I'll do just that. I'll show you exactly why Scootaloo and Turning Page could not have carried the body with the wagon.
What?
Twilight!
Then do so.
Twilight, what are you doing?
I have to thank you, Athena, for giving me the time I needed to come up with a way to refute Luna's theory.
I did what now?
While you were dealing with Diamond and Silver, I managed to figure out exactly what Luna's been aiming at all this time. Will you let me take the lead here?
Bitte sehr, Twilight.
Go for it.
Wir sind ganz Ohr.
Well, don't keep us waiting, Miss Sparkle.
Very well. Your Honor, this is why it would be impossible for the body to have been moved by the...
Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt, was Twilight hervorbringt.
The scooter itself? I'm not sure I follow.
Allow me to point you in the right direction, then. Look at the front wheels. Notice how they're crooked? This scooter cannot be driven anywhere in this state. Something that's already been proven. So you see, even if the wagon could be used to carry the body, it wouldn't matter in the slightest if the scooter couldn't move.
Objection! The wheels could easily have been broken after they carried the body.
Objection! Not so, Prosecutor Luna. Look at the scooter again. Only the front wheels are broken, and the left handle has been snapped off.
Okay.
What scenario do you suppose would have resulted in this kind of damage?
Wait, you mean...
These two areas of damage point to a single conclusion. After Scootaloo left the scene that night, she crashed into something.
Guter Punkt.
The force of that crash damaged the front wheels and likely threw Scootaloo off, causing her to break off the left handle.
Objection! Even if that were true, she might have crashed after she left the real scene of the murder. This would have allowed Turning Page to levitate the body, scooter, and wagon with his magic.
That's where my second piece of evidence comes into play.
Nimm das.
Is that the broken handle?
Ah!
It is, Your Honor. Using where it was discovered, I can prove beyond all doubt that the scooter and wagon could not have played a part in moving the body.
Where was it? Explain, defense.
Right here, at the crossroads. This proves that the crash occurred near the entrance to the forest. Given that it's about 30 minutes between there and the crime scene, it would be impossible for Scootaloo or Turning Page to carry the scooter and wagon back to the scene before Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon discovered them. Somebody else must have been involved.
Yep. Aber wer?
Miss Sparkle. You've done well to live up to the duty bestowed upon you by my sister. Your defense just now was superb. However, I'm afraid it's not enough.
It's rather unbecoming of you to be so stubborn, don't you think?
Stow the attitude, Miss Sparkle, and let me explain. If it's true that neither Scootaloo nor Turning Page were responsible for Royal Order's death, then logically, they should have seen the victim and the killer go to the scene that night, right? We know that the defendants took the only path available to get to and from the blackmail negotiation site. There's no way they could have missed the victim and killer heading towards the scene. Do recall that we've found nothing to suggest that the victim had the ability to teleport there. He'd never paid the place a visit. So, Scootaloo, Turning Page, tell me, did you see any pony heading towards the scene that night?
The only pony I saw was Miss Sakura.
Oder sie war's ja nicht.
Which would mean you were the shadow she witnessed after leaving her hut.
Yeah.
And what about you, Miss Scootaloo?
I don't think I did.
So, what do you plan to do at this juncture, Miss Sparkle?
We know some pony had to have moved the scooter and wagon from the crossroads after Scootaloo crashed. I think we need to hear a more detailed account of what occurred there. Maybe it'll give us a clue for the solution to this other conundrum.
What do you think, Prosecutor Luna?
I think that's a wise course of action to take.
Aber warum hat Athena gerade so reagiert?
Prepare the defendant to testify.
Please state your name for the record.
I'm Scootaloo, founder of the Rainbow Dash.
Luna didn't ask for your occupation. Wait, does that even count as an occupation?
The defense claims that you crashed your scooter while making your getaway. Is this true?
Yeah.
Could you please tell us what happened?
Yeah, sure.
Na dann leg mal los. Fleeing the scene.
After getting my scooter back, Turning Page told me to leave the scene with it. I did it exactly as he asked. I was scootering as fast as I could to get out of the forest. Suddenly, I heard timber wolves howling from a distance, and I got scared. I wasn't paying enough attention to the road, and I crashed into something on the path. I was okay, but I wanted to get out of the forest, so I just ran towards the entrance.
My word! You must have been beyond terrified that night.
Yeah. Without Turning's illumination spell, I had a harder time seeing where I was going.
You're certainly a lucky filly for escaping alive.
She is a very strong filly. I should know.
Oh ja.
All right, defense. Please begin your cross-examination.
Athena?
No. A cross-examination isn't what we need right now. There's so much discord in Scootaloo's heart. There's only one way to help her heart calm down. It's time for Equestria to see what Earth has to offer.
Well, Miss Sykes,
Was
are
hat
you
sie
ready to
vor?
begin your cross-examination?
Nö.
No, Your Honor, we are not.
Wait, we're not?
Please do not tell me you have simply given up after coming this far.
Wohl kaum, Luna.
Far from it. In fact, instead of cross-examination, I'd like to propose something else.
Something else?
Your Honor, I propose we conduct a short therapy session with Scootaloo.
Therapy session in the middle of a trial? Is this some kind of joke?
It's no joke, Prosecutor Luna. What Scootaloo went through has clearly rattled her emotions and muddled her testimony. To clear things up, I'll need some time to help her come to terms with her feelings.
All right.
Prosecutor Luna, as unorthodox as it may sound, these therapy sessions have helped us in many trials. Psychological treatment has unearthed more accurate testimonies and uncovered new information that would have gone unnoticed. So, I say we should allow it.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, the prosecution opposes this suggestion.
What? I beg your pardon?
What? Why?
Golden Pixie, You are but a child yourself. I cannot in good conscience allow you to perform therapy on a filly. You do not have the necessary experience to delve into the emotions of some ponies so vulnerable.
You're wrong! I've studied analytical psychology and I've done this before.
I will not allow it. You think I'm ready to trust you with a filly's psychological trauma after I've witnessed your impulsive behavior with Sakura?
Prosecutor Luna, are you sure? I believe this could be very beneficial to all of us.
I am quite certain, Your Honor. As some pony who deals with psychological traumas on a nightly basis, I take matters such as this very seriously.
Ah, das verstehe ich.
Please. It really will help, I promise.
If you refuse to let this point go and begin your cross-examination, then this court will have no choice but to suspend it entirely. Your tenacity, while laudable, is inappropriate here. Now, begin your cross-examination.
Luna! No. No! The mood matrix is our only way forward. This is so pathetic. The one thing I'm actually good at, I can't even convince Luna to go along with. All because of my stupid mistake.
Ah, für Fehler muss man büßen.
Like this.
Giving up already.
I mean...
What a shame.
Blackmail.
You seemed rather confident at one point. Don't tell me you're considering throwing in the towel.
I can't convince the prosecutor to let me use the mood matrix, though.
And? Do you think your mother had an easy time with it either? Her research and the Robots with a Heart program received their fair share of pushback too.
Yeah, I know that. Every time she came back from
Ich muss leider sagen, dass ich diesen Charakter nicht kenne aus den Spielen.
The rejection. It was almost too much sometimes. For the both of us.
Yet she didn't give up. She proved that her program should be both considered and respected.
Simon, please.
What's that look for? You listen here. You have inherited an incredible gift and an affinity for psychology from your mother, and you will use them. I will not have you embarrass yourself or her. Do you hear me?
Yes, but the prosecutor.
Forget about her. You promised those two children, didn't you? That you would prove their innocence?
I did. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know if I can keep that promise.
Athena, if you were to take to heart anything I tell you, make it this. A person who does not stand by their word is not worth the time of day. You are indeed inexperienced, naive, foolish at times, but you are not a liar, and I will not have you become one. Now, enough wallowing in misery. Convince that mare with the unremitting mane that using your talent to psychology is the best course of action. Show her that not allowing that child to receive counseling from you is a grave mistake.
Thank you, Simon.
Are we forgetting that you have yet to claw your way out of this grave? You can thank me later. With a bowl of noodles, of course.
Deal. I know just the place.
I think you'll find that my tastes are far too refined for the rubbish you and your merry band are used to eating, Sykes don't know.
Sehr interessanter Charakter.
I'll do it. I'll convince Luna to let us use the mood matrix. It's time to show her the true power of an adventurous inventor!
Now then, go.
Shut up.
Prosecutor Luna, I stand by my demand to conduct a therapy session with Scootaloo.
As I stand by my refusal to allow a child to meddle with the emotions of a filly.
I know I'm still young, and I know I'm not a great lawyer either. But even if you can't hear it like I can, I know you can feel it. The witness right now is suffering, and it's our duty to help her in any way we can. So, despite my lack of experience with the law, that's one thing I do know. That we shouldn't just ignore the inner turmoil of others if we can ease their pain. Because a lawyer's greatest strength isn't their mind, but their heart.
Well, what do you say, Prosecutor Luna?
Golden Pixie?
Yes?
I must admit that you continue to impress me with your ability to improve. Every minute of this trial sees you grow as an attorney. You would do well to be proud of that.
Well, I mean...
You will conduct this therapy session under the watchful gazes of both myself.
Ich muss ehrlich sagen, diese Szene stört mich gerade sehr gewaltig, weil Luna war gerade sehr verbohrt in ihrer ablehnenden Haltung und mit ein paar Worten ist sie zu überzeugen, das ist nicht wirklich glaubwürdig, tut mir leid. Das stört mich gerade extrem, wie leicht sie sich hat überzeugen lassen, weil wenn sie das nur gespielt hat, wäre das sehr mies von ihr. Tut mir leid, dass ich das jetzt so hart sagen muss, aber das ist wirklich sehr schwach gewesen.
Whoa. So this is the mood matrix? How does it
Jetzt sehe ich das auch mal. Das habe ich noch nie gesehen, tatsächlich.
Someone's testimony and scans their emotions as they give it. It even creates images of their testimony which we can view. These mood markers here reflect fluctuations in Scootaloo's emotions. When she feels happy or is enjoying the memory, the happy marker will light up. When she feels angry or frustrated, the angry marker will react. When she feels sadness or frightened by a memory, the sad marker will blink. And when she feels surprised or confused, the surprised marker will let us know. We'll also need to keep an eye on the fluctuation of each emotion. Observing how powerful each one is can tell us a lot.
So what this basically does is track Scootaloo's emotions as she's giving her testimony?
Yep, that's the mood matrix in a nutshell. Now let's see what's going on in Scootaloo's heart. See that? In the mood matrix, this is what noise or discord looks like. It's what happens when her testimony and her feelings are inconsistent with each other.
So that means if we can find what is causing those inconsistencies...
The noise level will go down, making Scootaloo's testimony clearer for us. And, most importantly, for herself.
This is incredible! I can only imagine how much
Okay, klingt interessant. Also das ist, sag ich mal, im Spielen sicherlich interessant anzuwenden.
After getting my scooter back, Turning Page told me to leave the scene with it. I did it exactly as he asked. I was scootering as fast as I could to get out of the forest. Suddenly, I heard timber wolves howling from a distance, and I got scared. I wasn't paying enough attention to the road, and I crashed into something on the path. I was okay, but I wanted to get out of the forest, so I just ran towards the entrance.
Got it! Scootaloo, you mentioned that you ran towards the entrance, correct?
Yeah, I was really scared, especially after I heard those timber wolves.
But was there also a moment when you got angry?
Angry?
You clearly were scared after the crash, but then you suddenly got angry when you ran away. Can you explain why?
Oh, I remember. After I recovered from the crash, I went to get back on my scooter, but it was broken.
Right. The impact dented the front wheels, and you tore off the left handle as you were sent flying.
Yeah, I couldn't ride it anymore. After all the trouble I went to get my scooter back, it got broken anyway.
I'm so sorry, Scootaloo. I know how much that scooter meant to you.
Thank you, Athena.
Well, Scootaloo, do you feel better after letting that out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Noise level 75%.
Whoa, look at that. Her noise level is down.
Precisely. This is the result of pinpointing that inconsistency. We're not done yet, though. There's still a good amount of discord left, so we gotta find out where the rest of the inconsistencies are. For now, I'll update Scootaloo's testimony.
Na dann. Das ist unglaublich.
I went to check on my scooter after I crashed. I saw that it was broken.
Got it. Seeing your scooter like that must have been hard.
Yeah, I was completely peeved.
Angepisst.
And upset too, because of how much it means to you.
Yeah.
But you were also very surprised. So much so that it was apparently your most prevalent emotion at the time. Any idea why that could be?
Surprised? I don't exactly remember why. I knew that the scooter might have broken, so I don't think... Ah! What?
Oh, da ist gerade...
The scooter! It was stuck on something!
Do you remember what it was?
It was stuck in the head of something lying on the ground. I could only barely make it out in the moonlight, but it was a pony's head. They were moving.
What?
I wasn't sure who it was at the time, but now that I've seen his picture, I know it was... Turning Page's dad.
What?
It seems that this therapy session has proven to be quite useful after all. We now have proof that the one who killed Royal Order was Scootaloo.
No, that can't be!
But Scootaloo said in her self-defense. She crashed into him while he was lying on the ground. That crash resulted in the handle breaking off, and what remained of that handle must have impaled him in the head.
That suddenly went from bad to worse. But I can't back down now. Nevertheless, Prosecutor Luna, I still think it's too early for us to come to any sort of conclusion. There's still some noise left in the witness's heart. Once I get the last of it, we should be able to hear Scootaloo's true testimony.
Dann fahre fort.
Very well. Proceed.
When I turned around to look at my scooter, I saw that one of the handles
Warum ist
was
sie
a
da?
pony's head. Got it.
Warum ist sie denn da
That
fröhlich?
handle lodged into a pony's head must have been nerve-wracking. Huh.
It was. I was afraid that I'd killed some pony.
Yet, for some reason, you were feeling glad about the situation. Could you tell us why?
Glad? Well, I think I heard the pony breathing.
What?
Breathing?
I wasn't sure until just now, but talking about it, remembering everything that happened, I'm certain of it. I heard the pony breathing. But I didn't realize it at the time. I heard more timber wolves nearby and I ran away. I left him to die. I left a royal order to die. That's the truth.
Das war's?
So it's really true then. Miss Scootaloo really was the one who killed Royal Order. Albeit accidentally.
Regrettably so, Your Honor. Following his death, the victim's body, along with the scooter and wagon, must have then been transported to the scene of the blackmail. Since we know Turning Page couldn't have made it to the crossroads in time to do that himself, there's only one other explanation. Royal Order, in his final moments for whatever reason, must have teleported himself to the site.
For whatever reason? Didn't you criticize me when I couldn't explain someone's actions earlier?
Touché, Miss Sykes. But what other explanation could there be? By the time Scootaloo crashed into the victim, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon would no doubt almost be done with their search, and on their way up the stairs to discover the body. The only way the body and everything else could get to the scene that quickly is via teleportation. Our reports stating that he'd never visited the castle before must have been inaccurate. There's always a chance he went there on his own time.
So the victim, after being stabbed, used his last moments to teleport to the castle?
It seems so, Your Honor. Though I confess the prosecution cannot provide a reason for his actions.
I see. What are your thoughts, Miss Sykes?
Something just occurred to me. There's a contradiction in Luna's theory and Scootaloo's testimony. But what could this mean?
There's no time to think now, Athena. You've got to say it.
Haus raus.
You mean you know too?
Yes. And I think I might know what it could mean. I'll need time to think it through, though. Just like before. You think you can buy me some time?
Yeah, I can. Let's do this, Twilight.
Auf geht's.
Objection! Prosecutor Luna, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your argument.
Flaw?
Yes, and it all stems from your testimony, Scootaloo.
What?
You claim that Royal Order was breathing after he was stabbed, but I'm afraid that's not possible. According to the autopsy report, the victim died instantly after being stabbed in the head. Yet you claim he was still breathing after he was stabbed? That's a clear impossibility.
Aber was bedeutet das?
But I did hear him breathing. I swear, I heard it. The noise was coming from his body. It couldn't have been from any pony else.
You must have been mistaken somehow. Perhaps that pony wasn't the victim.
No, it was him. I know it was. After Miss Sykes helped me to remember everything, I couldn't be more certain.
Maybe the autopsy report is wrong then?
No. I personally oversaw every step of the autopsy. No mistakes were made.
But surely there must have been. Otherwise, this would mean that the victim the defendant encountered at the crossroads and the victim found at the castle ruins were two completely different bodies.
Kann schon sein.
Exactly right,
Das
John.
würde nämlich auch dieses Blut an dieser Statue erklären.
No, surely Twilight isn't thinking...
More precisely, the defense believes that one of the two bodies was a clone.
What?
Clone? Order! Order in the court! Order! Miss Sparkle, have you gone completely mad? The victim was cloned?
Twilight, how sure are you about this?
I'm 96.5%
Sehr spezifisch.
We believe in Scootaloo and trust Luna's word about the autopsy. This is the only other possibility. Admittedly, though, I haven't quite figured out how we can prove it all just yet. So I'm going to be trusting you to follow my reasoning and fill in any points I miss, okay?
You know this world best, right?
Ja.
Then take it away.
Es gäbe da eine Möglichkeit.
There'd better be a good explanation for this defense.
Oh, there is, Princess Luna. Trust me. To start with, the court should know that in the Everfree Forest, there is a cave containing a magical pond called the Mirror Pool.
And what is this mirror pool?
According to Twilight, if you approach it and say an incantation, a near-perfect clone of yourself will emerge from the pond.
Exactly. And I believe that Royal Order used that very pool to clone himself on the night of
Aber warum?
Objection! And what proof could you possibly have for this?
The location of the pool itself is a good starting point. The cave to the pool happens to be located around here, near Froggy Bottom Bog.
And how is this relevant?
Because I have it on good faith that the victim teleported to that bog when looking for his son.
Yes, I suppose that's somewhat possible. After all, we learned that the victim had made trips with his son there in the past.
And I presume you have something more than speculation to offer us?
I have this.
Poison joke?
The victim suffered an affliction from this flower that night, and if you recall Sakura's testimony, she said it grew in limited locations around this time of year.
Yesterday, Twilight said that many strange plants grow at the bog. Sakura, can you confirm if the poison joke is one of those plants?
What Twilight said is most certainly true. Poison joke tends to grow at the bog too.
I still don't see how this proves the victim teleported to the bog. The poison joke that grew near Sakura's house could have easily affected the victim.
I don't think so, Princess Luna. My friends and I were once affected by poison joke, and it took at least half a day for effects to start showing.
But the victim was suffering from effects within the hour before he died.
So let's make sure we fully understand the potency of this plant. Sakura, Is there anything that affects the time it takes for Poison Joke's effects to appear?
Maturity determines when the effects will crest. The most mature variety needs minutes at best. Currently finding that type is a slog, since right now they're only found at the bog.
Thank you, Sakura. Now that we know this, we can confirm one thing for certain.
The victim went to Froggy Bottom Bog first. Because of how rapidly the poison joke affected him, he had to have gotten infected there. After all, Sakura said earlier that her poison joke was planted only recently, so it can't be that mature just yet.
Afterwards, he headed to the mirror pool to clone himself.
Your theory is still completely absurd. Even if he went to the bog first, the idea that a clone was involved is ludicrous.
But Scootaloo insisted that she heard the victim breathing, even though he should have died immediately after he was stabbed. This can only be explained if the body she came across and the body Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, and Sakura found were the same.
All we have is Scootaloo's word that the victim was breathing at the time. She could easily either be lying or mistaken.
Then what of the bruising that should have come from the scooter crashing into the victim? The bruise on his abdomen couldn't have been from the scooter, so clearly he should have had bruises elsewhere on his body that came from the scooter.
That's assuming the victim at the crossroads was Royal Order at all. The defendant's word is all we have to go off of.
Then let's add some pony else. Some pony who came across the very same crossroads after Scootaloo did. Turning Page.
What? Me?
Turning Page. When you were going back through the crossroads, did you see any pony at all?
Sorry, Miss Sykes. I didn't see anything.
I thought as much. Thanks, Turning.
What are you getting at, Defense?
Now that we know that Turning didn't see any pony at the crossroads, we can conclude two things. Either the victim Scootaloo ran into was moved by someone else, or he moved himself after Scootaloo left the scene.
Additionally, since the victim had been accidentally stabbed, it's possible traces of blood may be left at the crash site. They may point to where the body went. If we can find and analyze those traces, that would prove that the victim, or rather a clone of the victim, was indeed there.
And I suppose you have this proof with you right now?
Unfortunately, if we don't. We asked some pony to perform the necessary tests, but they may not be done for a while.
In that case, perhaps it is best if I suspend proceedings of this trial until tomorrow. Any objections?
Vermutlich nicht.
Phew.
Freu dich nicht zu früh.
Very well. Then this court shall reconvene.
Ja.
Wait a moment. You're...
Was? Nein! Da ist sie endlich! Endlich taucht sie auf!
Well, I'm glad I made it on time.
That coat, those glasses, this is her.
Wow!
The pony who wanted to defend Scootaloo?
I should have known you'd make your grand entrance sooner or later.
Well, Princess Luna, you know how I am when it comes to timing.
Let's cut to the chase then. You're here for a reason, I assume.
Indeed. We have new evidence to present to the court.
New evidence?
Then please, Miss Sonata, show us already. My robe is about to burst from all this.
Private Eye actually has them right now. Detective?
Right away, Miss Sonata. First,
oh my god.
Illuminated by a forensic spell. As you can see, we found traces of blood leading to the Nightmare Knight statue.
This can't be! Whose blood is it? Whose?
After testing, a forensic team has concluded that it belonged to none other than the victim, Royal Order.
What?
Aber ich dachte, das Blut an der Statue stammt nicht von ihm.
Order!
Oder ging es jetzt um die Blutspur?
It's as though the defense's prayers have been answered.
And now that they have, We'll finally be able to prove what really happened that night.
What does this all mean?
It should be clear by now, Your Honor. The victim whom Scootaloo encountered at the crossroads was indeed Royal Order.
However, contrary to the autopsy report we have, this Royal Order appears to not have died immediately after being stabbed.
He was still alive and left the scene with an open wound.
Which proves conclusively that there were in fact 2 Royal Orders in the forest that night. A real one and a clone.
This is insane!
Objection! Very impressive teamwork, defense. But even if you've miraculously proven the existence of this clone, don't think for a second that it's enough to exonerate your clients. The blood leading away from the scene could easily be the result of some pony carrying the body with magic. Where's your evidence that the victim was actually still alive after the incident at the crossroads?
Okay, you asked for it. Take that!
What is this, Miss Sykes?
This is the Nightmare Knight statue, Your Honor. As you can see, there's a large amount of blood in front of it. Clearly something big and rather gruesome happened here. And seeing as how the victim's blood trail leads down that path, I bet you anything that he has some connection to it.
Objection! Defense, what are you trying to pull? You know very well that bloodstain doesn't belong to the victim.
Wait, you know about this larger bloodstain?
You seem surprised. I heard that Private Eye informed you of a similar bloodstain we also located there.
Right, the smaller pool of it, found behind the statue.
We aren't fools. We discovered the bloodstain in front of the statue in the late afternoon during a precautionary re-examination of the area, per my request. Not that it matters either way. The blood left there was not the victim's. A clear sample obtained from that small pool at the back confirmed it.
Right, but
But now that we know the bleeding body of Royal Order showed up on the scene, that changes how we should view this evidence.
Exactly. If Royal Order was bleeding, then it would be impossible for his blood to not be found anywhere around the clearing.
In which case, there's only one possible conclusion.
The bloodstain in front of the statue
contains more than one pony's blood.
What foolishness is this? The blood pool behind the statue connects to the stain in front of it. They have to be from the same pony.
Nicht zwangsläufig. Oh.
Getting ahead of yourself as always, aren't you, Your Highness?
Oh, ich lieb sie jetzt schon, ey.
Color me impressed.
Private and I came to a similar conclusion ourselves after following the blood trail from the crossroads. So, in addition to Princess Violet's request, we went ahead and tested the big blood stain found on the front of the statue. And I can confirm that it contains blood belonging to 2 different ponies.
You can't be serious!
The small puddle belongs to 1 pony. Some pony other than the victim.
The larger stain, however, consisted of blood from both that same pony and the victim.
Aber wer?
What?
Defense? Care to explain all this?
It's actually rather simple, Your Honor. I think there must have been a fight between the 2 ponies. During that fight, Royal Order was likely killed and the other pony was injured.
Ugh.
Both of their blood stained the scene, and the survivor ducked behind the statue. That explains how the smaller bloodstain got there. The only way Royal could have gotten into that fight was if he was alive to get there. That means that he couldn't have died when Scootaloo ran into him.
And as for the other pony who left blood at the scene, it wasn't Scootaloo or Turning Page. Otherwise the tests would have come back with their names on it. Am I right?
Indeed.
Which of course means that neither could be responsible for his death.
So then, what did kill the victim, if not the scooter?
I got it.
Timberwolf.
Let's look back to the statue. I want to draw the court's attention to a certain corner. See how it appears to be the source of the blood flow?
I do see it, yes. What does that tell us, Miss
Es ist sehr spitz und kann als Waffe benutzt
The
werden.
victim was pushed onto that spike during the fight. It pierced his body, and that's what killed him.
If that's the case, then where could the body have disappeared to afterwards, if it isn't the same one that was found at the crime scene? If it was hidden, and the blood was cleaned up, all in order to conceal evidence of the crime itself, why didn't the killer clean up their own blood?
The disappearance of the body can be explained by this.
Nimm das.
A tooth?
Not just any tooth, a timberwolf's fang. Remember that both Sakura and Scootaloo both mentioned hearing timberwolves active in the forest that night. Possible that the body vanished because of them.
How so?
After the killer murdered Royal Order, they ducked behind the statue. My guess is that the timberwolves were drawn to the scene by the noise, or the scent of blood. The killer had to hide from them, so they hid behind the statue, while the wolves took the body to eat and likely lapped up the blood in front of the statue as well. This explains why the small blood stain remained. The timberwolves likely spooked the culprit into staying put until the timberwolves left.
And how do you explain the body left behind at the crime scene?
That's an easy one. Take that! Private Eye gave us this photo before the trial resumed. As you can see, it's a clearing found in the middle of the ever-free forest. Clearly visible here is yet another bloodstain revealed by forensic lighting. Private Eye confirmed that it belonged to Royal Order. That must mean this Royal Order was killed here, and then transported to the crime scene.
Along with Scootaloo's scooter and wagon? Care to tell me how that was accomplished?
She has a point. Moving all those things had to be done by the same pony. But how could they have done it without being seen by anyone? Luna initially suggested teleportation. Could that be it? Or is there something else I'm missing? I don't know! I thought I had something going there for a minute, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Twilight, do you have any ideas? Literally anything, I mean. I don't care how minor you think it is.
Well, I do have something. But it's not that it's too minor, it's that I don't really see how it's relevant at all.
Anything will do, just tell me what it is you've noticed.
Okay. It's just something that's been bugging me about the wagon. Do you remember that mark we found on it?
I do, yeah, but...
It's played no part in this incident whatsoever as of yet. So that's why I don't know how it's relevant.
Could it be that we just never found an opportunity to show how important it was? Or is it just not significant at all?
I have no idea, but there you go. Hopefully it'll help.
Miss Sykes! Miss Sparkle! Are you two finished? Prosecutor Luna has asked you a very pertinent question.
One I hope will be answered sometime today.
Honestly, I'm about as unsure as Twilight on this. Everything else is lined up rather well, but we need an answer right now. And I don't have a better one. If Twilight doesn't trust that she's on the right track, then I'll have to be the one to do it for her. Your Honor, the defense...
You have very little room to maneuver, Miss Sykes. Do not simply say the first thing that comes to mind, or blindly run with some vague premise. You may, by all means, start with something such as that. But think things through, logically. Take it one step at a time, and build your premise into a well-formed argument. Do you understand?
Yes, I think.
Very good. Continue.
At this point, I cannot fully answer the question of how the body, scooter, and wagon were moved.
You can't?
But...
No, not without a thorough examination of a piece of evidence.
And what would that piece of evidence be, Miss Sykes?
This, Your Honor. Take that!
That's the wagon, correct?
Exactly. But look closer at the bed, and you'll see what I'm referring to.
Some kind of decal at the bottom? Made of mud?
From what we can tell, it appears to be a hoof mark, albeit a rather small one, though this has not been confirmed in any way.
And this has some relevance, Miss Sykes?
It does, Your Honor. The defense believes that whoever made this mark is also the one who transported the victim's body.
And you can prove when this mark was made, I presume? If it was before the incident, this is a meaningless observation.
Well, that's the thing, you see. One of the CMC, Applebloom, has already confirmed that the mark wasn't there on the afternoon of the murder.
I see. That would indeed match with what Private Eye told me yesterday evening. It seems he was present when this was said by Applebloom.
We're back to this, are we? Can't I surprise her with anything?
So we know this mark was made on the night of the murder, but the question that I feel should be answered most is who made this mark?
Das ist die $1-Million-Frage.
Can you provide an answer, Defense?
I don't want to make another accusation. Not after last time. Heck, I can't make one even if I wanted to. I have no idea who it belongs to.
Wait a second. Could it... No, that's ridiculous.
What?
Twilight?
I've realized what's been bugging me about the mark on the wagon. I've seen it before.
What? Where?
Do you remember when we got back from the Carousel Boutique yesterday? Who we met?
You don't
Wen
mean...
haben sie denn nochmal getroffen da?
Sugar Stamp! At your service, ma'am! I have something for you!
Sugar Stamp?
Princess Twilight, you'll be happy to know that as soon as she got your letter, she immediately set aside all of her other duties to make sure this got to you as soon as possible.
That mail pony, Sugar Stamp. She had a badge with a similar shape as the mark on the wagon.
Oh, man.
You know what this means, right?
Yeah. That mail pony was in the forest that night.
More than that, actually. But I think you already know what I'm getting at. You good to handle everything from this point on?
I think so, yes. Thank you, Twilight. For everything.
It's not over yet. You can thank me after we're done here.
Time is up, Defense. You've had enough time to discuss. Have you concluded who may have left the mark on the wagon?
The defense has identified a possible suspect, Your Honor.
And who might they be?
Schöner Blick.
The defense formally accuses the mail pony by the name of Sugar Stamp.
A mail pony, you say?
The mark on the wagon is extremely similar to a badge she wears, Your Honor. Not only that, but she's a Pegasus. Knowing that, we can solve the last remaining mystery. How the body and scooter were transported.
By
They
flying.
weren't teleported as the prosecution claims. They were flown by a Pegasus. Objection!
As fascinated by your theory as I am, I find myself stunned by how you fail to realize the obvious. Sugar Stamp is not the only Pegasus, nor mail pony in existence. The mark looking similar to a badge she wears is a tenuous link at best. What has led you to the conclusion that this pony in particular is the one who may be responsible for the crime?
I have proof that can show us exactly that. Take that!
A letter?
We found this letter in Zecora's hut yesterday. Notice how dirty it is?
Yes, it is rather filthy looking. But why is that relevant?
There are two important points surrounding this letter, Your Honor. First, the fact that we found this letter in the first place tells us that Zecora hadn't yet retrieved it. According to a friend of hers, Zecora would have collected her mail from earlier that day as soon as it was delivered. This tells us that on the day of the murder, this letter wasn't in the mailbox. If it was, Zecora would have collected it when she returned to her hut that night.
Then when, pray tell, was it delivered?
That leads me to my second point, Prosecutor Luna. When we found this letter yesterday, we also found the mail that had been delivered that morning. That mail was in far better condition than this letter. So this letter must have been delivered before yesterday's mail and gotten dirtied as a result. Knowing that, and knowing that it hadn't been in the mailbox when Zecora returned to her hut, we can conclude that this letter arrived on the night of the murder itself.
This is all very fascinating, Defense, but you have yet to prove that Sugar Stamp is the one who delivered it. At best, you have placed a mail pony in the forest.
I am inclined to agree, Miss Sykes. Please explain to the court why it must be her.
I shouldn't have to, Your Honor. If you look closely at this letter, you'll see that it bears the royal seal, meaning that Princess Celestia and Luna had originally written and sent it. While I don't know its contents, I can infer that it's very important and had to be entrusted to specific ponies for delivery. Ponies whose identity either Celestia or Luna should be able to confirm. Prosecutor Luna, can you confirm whether or not Sugar Stamp was the one tasked with delivering this letter?
Yes, it was Miss Stamp.
Thank you, Prosecutor Luna. Your Honor, I believe this pretty much confirms everything that the defense has claimed. We know that Sugar Stamp was in the forest that night.
Ja, aber wo ist das Motiv? Warum hat sie das getan?
Given her the opportunity to kill Royal Order after making her delivery. Finally, the mud imprint ties her to the movement of the scooter and wagon, which would also tie her to the movement of the body. As for the exact nature of her guilt, I can't say for certain. I can say, however, that what we've established should prove beyond reasonable doubt that neither Scootaloo nor Turning Page could have committed the crime.
And why is that, Miss Sykes?
Because now we've demonstrated how the body and items could have been moved, and we've also discovered an alternative explanation for what happened that night. Any and all evidence linking the defendants to the crime has been refuted. And, unless the prosecution is prepared to argue against our theories, the defense argues we cannot accept their original stance. That the defendants killed the two royal orders.
Prosecutor Luna, do you have any objections to what the defense has said?
I do not. Miss Sykes and Miss Sparkle have managed to make their argument as conclusively as they could.
Does this mean?
However, I do have some questions for her, though I am unsure if she can actually answer them.
Questions?
Let us assume you are correct, that Sugar Stamp is the true culprit in one of these deaths. Why would she murder
Ja,
Royal
genau,
Order?
warum?
Furthermore, why would she decide to pin it on Scootaloo?
Gute
Since
Frage.
none of the witnesses mentioned seeing her, why would she go to great lengths to conceal her presence, when she would not have been discovered?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But in any case, my point still stands. Scootaloo and Turning are innocent of any crime.
Then I believe we have come to a satisfying conclusion for this trial. While there are some unanswered questions regarding the case as a whole, I feel that the defense has sufficiently established that the defendants of this trial were not the ones who killed Royal Order. Does the prosecution have any final comments?
I do not, Your Honor. The prosecution rests.
As for Sugar Stamp, I would like for this pony to be taken in for further questioning. After the defense's claim, it's important that we verify her movements that night. I would also like the pony who killed the victim near the statue to be swiftly identified and taken in for questioning as well. Prosecutor Luna, I trust that you will perform these two tasks?
Of course, Your Honor.
I did it!
Irgendwie geht mir das zu einfach gerade.
Would the defendants please take the stand? There is a good lesson to be learned here for you both, I think. You both put each other in danger by deciding to go along with the blackmailing instead of asking for help.
Das ist wohl
I
wahr.
hope such dire circumstances never happen to you again. But should they, I trust you'll know what to do. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. In the case of Scootaloo and Turning Page, I find the defendants
Not guilty. Wuhu! Na, dann denke ich mal, dass vielleicht das mit Sugar Stamp im nächsten Fall. Die Augen, geil. Dass das im nächsten Fall dann vielleicht aufgeklärt wird.
Court is now adjourned.
Irgendwie ist das jetzt so ein bisschen leicht unbefriedigendes Ergebnis, dass diese Frage offen bleibt. Warum hat sie das getan? Aber vielleicht kriegen wir noch eine Antwort. Es sind noch gute 18 Minuten. Da kann noch ein bisschen was kommen.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Is it really over?
It is.
I think it is, Athena.
It feels like this took more than a day. It doesn't seem real just yet.
Well, I'm told that victory tends to bask you in something of a strange, surreal glow. Congratulations, Athena. You won.
Yes!
Hey, come on, Twilight. Don't sell yourself short. If anything, you're the one who won today.
Oh ja. Sie hat großen Anteil daran.
You led the charge at least twice today. And if you hadn't brought up that mark on the wagon, the trial might have ended there. Really, if anyone earned a victory today, it's you.
But that wasn't enough. I didn't even think that the mark was relevant. And besides, it's you trusting my hunch that eventually led us to figuring out why.
Ihr seid einfach ein gutes Team gewesen. Ganz einfach.
But even so, I don't feel like this was my victory.
Doch.
Trust me, Athena.
Athena!
Boss! And Rainbow Dash!
Congratulations, you two. You stood your ground the entire way.
I'll say, I can't believe you managed to hold your own against Princess Luna and clear both Turning Page and Scootaloo.
Yeah, I can't believe it either.
But who could have guessed clones would be involved somehow?
It makes sense. But while that solves one mystery, it leaves plenty up in the air.
Yeah. Like, how do you even know about the pool? It was covered up by a rock, wasn't it?
Warum hat er sich geklont?
The last time I checked on it.
Das habe ich auch nicht so ganz verstanden.
I wonder, just what was he trying to do? I guess there's no way to really find that out, is there?
No, I guess there isn't.
Vielleicht wird das noch aufgeklärt
I can't begin to
irgendwann.
imagine what Turning must be feeling right now. To learn that there were two versions of his father that night, and they both died. A scary thought, but how do we know which royal order was the original?
I'm not sure we even can know. And it's not like knowing who was who would change anything.
Yeah, I guess. Still, it leaves an ugly feeling in my gut.
Speaking of Turning, actually, here he comes now. With Scootaloo.
Yay! Oh.
Poor kid.
Athena! Twilight! You did it! You really saved us!
Of course, it was a total cakewalk.
Natürlich, der Cakewalk wieder.
Road of lies!
Can you let me have this
Der
moment?
Cakewalk wieder. Nope!
You were awesome out there, Athena! I mean, at first you were all nervous and doing a bunch of dumb stuff, but then you really started kicking Blink. I mean, when Dem and Tiara and Silver Spoon got up on the stand...
He's got a lot on his mind, I'll bet.
Ja, das glaube ich auch.
Hey, Turning?
What's wrong, Miss Sykes?
Actually, I think I should be the one to ask you that.
Oh, it's nothing, really. I'm just happy for Scootaloo.
Nee, da ist noch mehr.
Sure?
Yeah, kid. Shouldn't you be, you know, happy for yourself, too? You're innocent.
Rainbow!
What? It's true, isn't it? Oh, I mean...
Genau.
Turning Page? It's okay. I'm sure that whatever's on your mind, it'll help to get it out. Keeping your emotions pent up inside of you isn't a good thing. Even if you don't find a solution right away, it helps to have some pony to talk to. That's something that I learned today, thanks to Athena.
Scootaloo?
Well, I guess I'm just really worried about Miss Sugarstamp. What's going to happen to her?
Once she's been found, she'll be taken in for questioning, I suppose. What happens after that will depend on what they find out.
You don't think she did it, do you?
I couldn't say. I'm sorry, Turning Page.
Athena, do you think Miss Sugarstamp did it?
All the evidence we have points to her at least being involved in one of the deaths. Like Twilight said, though, there's not enough to go on to say how involved she is, though.
I understand. I hope it isn't the case, though. And that there's another reason for why things happened the way they did. She was such a nice mare to me. Scoots! Are you alright? None of the bailiffs are treating you badly or anything? Nah, I'm all good now. It's great, Scoots. I knew you were innocent. I always knew it. Yeah, me too.
What's up with Sweeney Belle again?
Die hat noch Cyclops.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't thanks to Athena and Twilight, I doubt Turning and I would have been found not guilty.
Oh, gee, Scootaloo.
Yo!
Yeah?
Uh-oh. Bloom's about to go boom! What? Entire nation?
Das war ja klar.
She'd never hurt any pony. She's one of the nicest, sweetest, smartest zebras around. It's bad enough that when she first came to Ponyville, no pony trusted her. Every pony treated her like she was some dangerous monster. It took an awful lot to get every pony to change.
Ist ja gut.
You almost messed that up. How could you, Athena? I mean, I know you said you'd do your best to help Scoots and Turning, but how could you do that?
Apple Bloom, it's more complicated than you think.
Then explain it! Explain it so I can understand why in Equestria you would do such a thing! Did you just not like her? Did you think she was some kind of freak? Or did you really think we'd have a friend who would kill some pony?
No. I won't run from this. Okay, Apple Bloom, I'll tell you why I did it. The truth is, I was scared. It seemed like the odds were stacked against me from the very beginning. I knew there was a good chance that I'd lose and that Turning and Scootaloo would be declared guilty. And because I was scared, I became desperate. Desperate enough to do something completely crazy, knowing that I had no proof. It was the only way out that I thought I had. And even now, I think it might have been the only one I could have chosen. But maybe even that is assuming too much. Maybe there was another way. I guess I'll never know. What I did, even though it was with the best of intentions, is inexcusable. It was wrong. And I am sorry I did it, Apple Bloom. I'm so sorry.
Do you mean that?
Yes, absolutely. I know my words might seem hollow, but it's the truth. I'm sorry for what I did.
My sister's the element of honesty, you know.
Oh? The element of honesty?
Ja, noch eine Sache, die du herausfinden musst.
So, she's real big on ponies telling the truth. She don't like no liars, you see. An honest apple always tastes sweeter than a lying one. But part of being honest and telling the truth is also apologizing. Genuine. When you make a mistake, no matter how big or small that mistake may be.
Apple Bloom?
Way I see it, Athena, you definitely messed up big time. And that's hard to forgive. But you admitted that you did wrong. And you apologized. To both Sakura and now me. I think that counts for something. I think it shows that you've got, what's it called? Integrity. Yeah. Honesty and integrity. So, thanks for apologizing. I forgive you, Athena.
Oh, Apple Bloom?
Well said, young Apple Bloom. When did you get so wise?
Luna!
I must say, you put on quite the show for us, Golden Pixie. Or perhaps now would be more appropriate to say, Miss Sykes.
Princess Luna! What are you doing here?
Do not be afraid, child. I can assure you, I am not here to challenge her to a duel over wounded. I am here to congratulate Miss Sykes on her hard-fought victory. You performed remarkably well for a self-proclaimed novice, might I add. Of course, I must extend my praise to Twilight as well. An admirable job, co-counsel.
Thank you, Princess Luna.
Yes, thank you. Wow, is this really the same Luna from before?
Mm-hmm.
She was like some kind of dark mayor of the courtroom back there. But now she seems more like a regular regal Vermin.
Ich finde das, wie gesagt, ich habe vorhin schon gesagt, ich finde das so schön, dass man ihr diese Rolle so reingeschrieben hat. Das ist richtig toll.
You show great promise, young Athena. Perhaps one day you will be as good as your mentor, the Blue Phoenix.
The Blue
and
Phoenix.
Speaking of, we finally meet, Phoenix Wright.
So we do, Princess Luna. It's a pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine. My sister spoke greatly about your exploits during your last visit to Equestria. Though, I must admit, I did not picture you as the mentor type.
Really? I guess I never pictured myself as being one either. It just kinda happened, bit by bit. I wouldn't change it for the world, though. Because hey, you know what they say, sometimes you don't always get to choose who you're going to be. Sometimes you become who you need to be, for others, and for yourself. You might get dealt a bad hand, but what you do with those cards is up to you.
Wise words, Mr. Wright. And of course, that doesn't make who you are, or who you want to be, any less important. Ponies change, do they not? They have to, in order to keep on living, but whether they change of their own accord, or are made to by outside forces, does not matter. So long as they are true to themselves and do what is right according to their beliefs, then they'll stay the course. Wouldn't you agree, Miss Sykes?
Absolut.
I guess so. I don't really understand what Luna means, though.
But enough pleasantries. There is also another reason why I am here.
What would that be?
If it's about Sonata, she's not here. And we don't know where she is. Sorry.
That is to be expected. After all, I'm told she has returned to her investigation. As for Mr. Private, he has set off for Canterlot to give a report on the case.
Sonata's investigating again?
The phrase, burning the candle at both ends, comes to mind. This Sonata is no slouch, I can say that much.
What I'm here for relates to the blood test that Detective Private Eye and Sonata performed.
Huh? What about it? Was it wrong?
No. It is true that the large blood stain contained blood that belonged to Royal Order, and, as you surmised, his killer. But that killer's identity...
I
Ist,
don't
das
like
war
where
nicht
this
schon
is going.
Boom.
Who is it?
Sweetie Belle.
What?
Oh no you don't. You're not going anywhere.
Sweetie Belle!
Come on, kid. You're coming with us.
No! Please! Don't let me go!
It was true that I managed to save the two ponies who were relying on me. But then, almost as quickly as that trial ended, the beginnings of another reared its ugly head. 2 ponies were saved, but 2 more were suspected, left with so many unanswered questions. About Sweetie Belle,
Ja.
the blood at the statue,
Da war,
stamp, the mark in
das
the
hat wohl auch
wagon.
mit ihren,
It was clear this case was far from over.
mit ihren Cyclops zu tun. Okay, das war jetzt nochmal ein Schlag in die Magengrube zum Anfang. Zum Ende. To be continued. Also es geht noch weiter. Das war nicht der letzte Part. Ich hab's gewusst. Das war ein zu unbefriedigendes Ende, um es hier enden zu lassen. Wow. Dann denke ich mal, dass als nächstes nochmal eine Ermittlungsphase kommt, weil das kann nicht alles jetzt im Gericht geklärt werden. Die Fragen müssen irgendwo auch ergründet werden. Und ich bete so sehr darum, dass jetzt beim nächsten Mal auch Fina und Phoenix auf Sonata treffen. Bei der Ermittlung. Holy shit. Also was war das bitte schon wieder für ein Part? Der war... Wow. Es war viel wieder, was aufgearbeitet wurde, aber es hatte wirklich einige Momente. Sonata, vor allem auch wie er zurückgekommen ist. Wow. Aber das muss, glaube ich, erstmal sacken. So, ich glaube, da wird auch wieder eine Post-Credit-Scene kommen, weil hier ist noch zu viel am Ende offen. Es sind noch 3 Minuten auf der Uhr. Deswegen denke ich mal, da kommt noch eine Post-Credit-Scene. Vielleicht mit Sonata. Oder vielleicht wieder mit dieser Oberermittlerin, die da im vorigen Teil schon zu sehen war. So. Ja, da kommt eine Post-Credit-Scene. Ja, da ist es schon. Canterlot. Irgendwo. Ah, da ist sie doch.
Enter.
Private Eye.
You wished to see me, Lord Equity.
Yes. Tell me, what's the status of the Manhattan investigation?
The Manhattan investigation?
You were leading it prior to the Ponyville case, were you not? I wanted to know if there were any new developments.
Not that I know of. I haven't had a chance to return to the city since Royal Order's murder. And, with how things are over there at the moment, I'm afraid the investigation's been at a deadlock. I have good news about Royal Order's murder, though. There's been a breakthrough in the case. Once I get back to Ponyville,
The Manhattan investigation must continue, Detective. It cannot be put off any longer. You either return to Manhattan and resume your duties there as lead detective, or forfeit authority over that case to some pony else. Do I make myself clear?
yes, Lord Equity. I understand, but
You desire to continue the investigation into Royal's death, then?
I do, yes.
Very well. I will assign another investigator to take over the Manhattan investigation.
Of course. Thank you for your compassion, Lord Equity. Is that all you wish to see me for?
Yes. You may go, but do not return to Ponyville just yet, Detective.
Why not?
As soon as I've finished reassigning the case, I will be accompanying you there.
You will?
Oh.
What for, if I may ask?
That is none of your concern, Detective.
Ah, my apologies, Lord Equity. I'll await your call, then.
Okay. Das war jetzt interessant, dieses Bild. Da war Royal Order nämlich auch zu sehen. Wahrscheinlich sie auch. Holy shit. Wo führt uns das noch hin? Also, der nächste Part... Also, ich sag's ganz ehrlich, ich freue mich auf den nächsten Part schon wieder. Das ist... Die Spannung, die wird hier hochgehalten und ich bin echt mal gespannt, was diese Lord Equity, was die auch damit zu tun hat. Die ist da mehr drin verstrickt, als es jetzt den Anschein erweckt. Boah. Hartes Brot, also wirklich viele emotionale Stücke, viele schöne Momente auch. Und ein Ende, wo man irgendwie schon so dachte, das kann noch nicht das Ende sein. Und dann kommt wirklich genau dieser Schlag in die Magengrube und reißt einen dann wieder mit rein. Wow. Also, ich bin wirklich mega gespannt, wie das jetzt weitergeht. Und ich hoffe, wir müssen nicht allzu lange auf den nächsten Part warten. Wie ich am Anfang schon gesagt habe, das soll jetzt nicht klingen, als wenn ich diejenigen hetzen wollen würde, um Gottes Willen, aber ich bin nicht unbedingt einer der geduldigsten, aber ich denke, ihr wisst, wie ich das meine. Eine lange Reaction geht zu Ende, ein großartiges Video wieder mal und ich freue mich auch schon wieder von euch zu lesen, was ihr da wieder für Schlüsse daraus zieht. Insofern verabschiede ich mich an dieser Stelle. Es war wieder eine schöne Erfahrung und ich hoffe, ihr seid bei meinen nächsten Videos auch wieder dabei. Euer Diese Folge. Ciao.